So, do y'all remember when I said this? I have been working on a new mod pack. Oh, Project Create 2 is going to be coming out pretty soon, hopefully. Yeah, that was quite some time ago. But after some time away from the Create mod, I feel finally it's time to start a new adventure in the new and improved Project Create 2. This time around, I've reduced the number of mods, but made sure they all mesh nicely with each other, leading up to some new custom recipes that I made myself that are a little complex, and are definitely going to require a lot of farms and automation to make them happen. So let's jump right in and get started, because I'm pretty excited for this world. And I don't really know what I'm excited for. I have no plans. Not one. I just kind of booted up a new world, got started, got myself set up with a press and a mixer, you know, the most basic of basic, and I figured I'd just kind of wing it from here. I think definitely the first thing I want to do here is, for one, improve our setup, because this is diabolical, and two, get some better tools and armor, maybe get some enchantments going, you know, all that kind of good stuff. Potentially get some villager stuff on the go to get some enchanted books so we can duplicate them and all that kind of good stuff. And to make all that happen, I think I'm going to be using Tom's Simple Storage, because this is a really great early game inventory solution. Doesn't really add anything too special, just allows you to read a bunch of chests and pull from them to craft stuff. So saves you sifting through all your chests when you want to craft stuff. And this, again, not too bad. A couple of diamonds, some glowstone, a bit of quartz, and an ender pearl really are the most difficult things here. So we definitely got to get ourselves some diamonds and head into the nether and gather up those bits. So I now have the joyous job of digging all the way down to diamond level and strip mining for unforeseen amount of time. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. This was... No, there it is. Yep. So, good start. I'm gonna have to, do that. Grab my stuff before I die horribly. Come on. Yep, there it is. Going in from an alternative angle this time, if I can staircase my way down, I can grab my things and run out straight away, if they don't immediately see me. Grab it. He's out. He's done it. Well, I apparently had a shield this whole time, so I feel like this one is on me. I apparently got an ambience disc for a rainy mood. Love to see it. Right then. I suppose I'll be a little bit more careful this time. That's an interesting nether spawn inside of a quartz geode. I mean, that's one thing off our list straight away. Love to see it. Because with just a handful of them, yep, that's already a stack of quartz. Yeah, that's that sorted, definitely. I'm not feeling great about us being in the ceiling here, though. Although, looking here at the map, we're actually in a pretty okay spot. We have what looks like 2 bastions down here, as well as a pretty nice and big warped forest, so we can get our ender pearl there for sure, as well as a nether waste, so we can get our glowstone there too. So I just need to make my way out of this and head north towards those 2 biomes. And let me tell you, I will never be more thankful for a mod than Quark in this current moment in time. Being able to place blocks underneath like this, truly a magical thing. Because now I can just sit here, bridge my way over the basalt delta, not get assaulted by magma cubes. Ah, perfect. Oh dear, oh dear. This is why I don't like digging for a basalt delta. Well, having now broken into the nether waste and being right next to the warped forest, I'm going to help myself to a bunch of this glowstone, and then we can work on getting ourselves an ender pearl. Unless there just happens to be an enderman, like, right here. I mean, are you gonna... Yeah, there we go. This makes my life easier. And it didn't drop an ender pearl. Fantastic. And yes, you are seeing this correctly. I am in fact making mushroom stew in the nether as means to survive, because I forgot to bring food. I'll be taking this as well, actually. A waste stone, always good to find. Whoa, look at that! 4 endermen without even going in there. What about you, gentlemen? Would you like to get in the boat? Yes. Yes, there we go. Thank you, sir. Ender pearl. Then we have just one last guy here who we should be able to nudge into the boat. Yeah, good. Oh god, I hate the salt deltas. They are the worst. And he didn't even give me an ender pearl. What a guy. Oh, and one more thing. If you're looking at this quartz vein or any other ore veins around this place thinking, they look unusually large, then you're correct. You see, I downloaded a mod to make all of the ore veins in the game a little bit bigger. Apparently, this is the definition of a little bit, according to this mod. Yes, slightly larger than usual, I see. And yes, it also applies to ores in the overworld as well, as you can see by this egregiously large iron node. But what's even weirder is that it only seems to be affecting the iron in my world. It's supposed to be every single ore should be like this, but you can see here I've got a regular old diamond vein, and well, there's 3. There should be about 20. And same with the zinc here. This is just a regular size vein, so it's really strange. The idea I was going with was that I made them really, really big veins like this, but they would be really uncommon. But it only seems to have applied to the iron, the quartz, and the nether gold, and nothing else, weirdly enough. But at the same time, I actually kind of don't mind that, because iron and gold are the 2 biggest ores in the game, and quartz, it doesn't really have any consequence to being a big node. It's just slightly less time to mine it, I guess. So iron is absolutely not going to be a problem for us in this series for sure. Especially when you get a hammer, you can just really absolutely slam through this stuff, and yeah, you can just see how deep this goes. There's a lot of iron here. That tiny part I just dug out, that's about a stack and a half of iron, and that is without Fortune 3, so you can imagine how crazy this gets once you get Fortune, and yeah, it gets wild. I know not everybody is going to agree with me on this and say this is too OP or whatever, but it's too late to change it now. Suck it, it's staying in. Which reminds me, I totally have said so far, by the way, that the new mod pack should be out by the time this video goes live. Project Create 2 on Modrinth, probably, if I remember. I won't. The link for it might be in the description if I've remembered to actually publish it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's a fun little game for Future Ski, just to whether he remembers or not. Anyway, I need a way out of this cave. I have a storage system to build. I'm gonna stop getting distracted by mining more iron that I don't need. Alright, so this storage system is gonna be relatively simple. All we need to do is make one of these crafting terminals for sure. We're gonna need an inventory connector, and probably just a handful of trim, and that should really do us for a basic system. So the trims are super easy, just some planks, some sticks, and a chest. I say it's easy enough, and I don't actually have any wood to make it, so it's deforestation time. So probably 8 trim will do, honestly, that'll be enough. So the connector, we just need a diamond, an ender pearl, and some comparators. So we'll just get a little bit of stone cooking for that. Grab our quartz out the backpack and the ender pearls. So while that's cooking, we'll work on the crafting terminal, which is those, and a storage one, which needs more comparators and a piece of glass. And I don't actually have any redstone to make the comparators for the torches. Oh no. Right, well, dumping all of this back in here for a moment then, and to the mines we go. Redstone time. Not before I get some torches, because I forgot them again. And because I'm incredibly stupid, I didn't check my microphone cable was plugged in when I went to record crafting these, so good one, Skeech. For real, it sounded horrible. Listen to this. It's awful. And what's neat about this is that if I set it to JEI synced, which is the big list of items here, say I want to craft, I don't know, dark oak stairs, you can see it comes up here. I can just select that, and it's going to automatically pull the items from the chest into the crafting window, which is pretty cool. And even while I was doing all that stuff, I went ahead and I started to throw together some stuff for our first little starter base. I got the build palette worked out, really happy with this. We got a nice little black to grey with all the different blocks, some nice dark oak trims, mangrove roof, and then maybe like a jungly mud section coming off the side. I think this side bit here is what I'm going to change, or maybe this here, I'm not sure yet. I was just kind of throwing some stuff at the wall and seeing what worked. But if I want to get some create stuff set up, then I definitely need a building to do it in, so I'm going to see what happens and see if I can make something that looks somewhat acceptable. I'm tearing this roof off for one because I really don't like the shape. It's horrible. I'm getting rid of it. And you know what, even after a little bit of work, I think this turned out pretty nice. The roof is very plain right now. I need to get my hands on some more zinc, and then we can use some copycat bits and fill it in with some nice textures. And you know, I've added in a few windows, probably needs a couple more details, but we can do that later. But inside here, we have a nice little bedroom area, some nice rafters, and then I've hooked up the inventory over here, and I'm really excited to show you what I've done with this. It's so cool. So while I was working on this, I realized the mod has something called inventory connectors, and what these do is they allow you to connect an inventory at a distance using these cables. So our storage, instead of just having those big pile of ugly chests, we actually have some nice big storage silos. And yeah, if I hold shift on these, you can see this is actually where my items are being stored. And you know, this is really easy to expand as well. I just gotta add more silos and extend the cable. These cables are dead cheap to craft, just some trapdoors, sticks, and a bunch of wood really. And the cable connector here is also not too bad, just a diamond and ender pearl, piece of quartz, and some wood. All stuff which aren't really that difficult to get. But with the house built, I think I should probably get on top of moving some of this create stuff inside and like making some actual machines, because I have one whisk, one press, and a single fan to my name. And when I built this place, I didn't really think about where I was going to fit all this stuff, so it's definitely going to be a squeeze. But it'll definitely be made a lot easier with the help of a rotation speed controller, so we can just whack everything on maximum speed, and hopefully that'll mean I need less machines because they'll be running just that little bit faster. But that does unfortunately mean we need brass to make the brass casing and the deployers to make a precision mechanism. And I guess looking at it, I'm also gonna need to go mining because I have no zinc and 4 pieces of copper to my name. I see. So just to get it out of the way, I'm gonna grab myself, I guess 5 blaze burners, that'll do, and we'll head on over to the Nether and see if we can find a fortress. Which I almost definitely have one, because if I go on my map here, you can see that I've been really far out through the Nether to find a mangrove swamp, and also to a mesa, so we've been pretty far in the Nether. And I would like to say that going to the mesa was purposeful, but no, that was just me accidentally dividing my portal math by 4, not 8, so I went twice as far as I was meant to. But yeah, I can already see there is a fortress right here on the map, so we're just gonna head on out there through my incredibly safe and not dangerous one wide bridge with no guardrails. That also has mobs on it, so you know, probably gonna fall off and die a bunch, but we'll see. Oh, perfect, thank you. That makes it a lot safer. Although, there is a bastion right here, and everybody knows how much of a little loot goblin I am. You know, just a little peek inside couldn't hurt anyone, right? And you know, it is one of those bastions that has the big loot pile at the bottom. Oh, I mean, just look how much gold there is. It's wonderful. And oh yes, that's what I wanted to see. Curse of Vanishing, not great. Feeding upgrade. Riptide Toe, cool. You know what, I don't want to deal with you. I'm just gonna block myself in here. Alright, well, I'm gonna bounce from here like straight away. So, yep, I'm gonna come back and finish looting this later. Also, yes, you are right. I totally dug just round the side of the bastion and underneath it to get to that chest, because I didn't want to go through the middle, because that sounded like a bad idea. Oh, and super lucky, the literally the first bit I get to outside the fortress has a spawner, so I'm just gonna bounce right on out here as well, because I've run out of food. It does occur to me I probably should have brought a waystone, because then I could just teleport back here anytime, but I'm stupid, and I forgot to bring one. And you know, it wasn't too bad. Got myself 5 blaze burners, 4 for a steam engine, 1 for making some brass. So the next thing we need to do is actually, you know, make the brass and make a workshop, but I really don't have a lot of resources going on. I mean, I got maybe 2 stacks of copper going on here, and if I just search ingots, yeah, it's not looking so good with the copper and zinc. And I recently learned of a pretty big flaw in my world here, which I created during the development of the mod pack, and that needs us to go into creative mode just to do a little bit of a showcase. So when I was developing the pack here, I included a mod which was called larger ore veins, which I anticipated was obviously going to make ore veins bigger, and therefore making mining a little bit easier. And that worked fantastically. You can see here in this screenshot, the ore veins are enormous. This is just one of the iron ones, except those were the only ones that were spawning. It was supposed to be every single ore vein in the game was spawning in this size, and that has just not really happened. And you can see in this screenshot here, like, no other ores are spawning. It's just these massive iron nodes and barely anything else. I mean, this is what normal generation looks like. So it's a pretty insane difference. And then using this program here called MCA Selector, I selected an area of about 200-300 blocks around the house and then deleted everything outside of it. So because we're still on the same seed, the world generation will be exactly the same. It's just outside of that radius we've kept, everything will now be in the normal ore generation pattern. Which means if we want to go mining, all I need to do is just go a little bit further out, but that is fine. I can live with that. And on the plus side, if I need iron, I can just go digging around the base. But anyway, now I've fixed the world generation, I was able to go on a little mining trip and actually get some resources, so we can go ahead and get our brass cooking up. And right off the bat, I'm just going to press 4 of these down so we can make ourselves a deployer, of which I should already have all of the resources to make. If we just grab a brass hand, an electron tube, and a casing, that's that one done. And I still haven't been to an ocean to set up a belts or anything to make a proper setup for this, but I am just going to go ahead and do this the slow way. I'm just going to sit here and change the items very slowly. Ah, neat, we actually got 2. That's perfect. Love that. So with just 2 brass casings, we should now be able to make actually 2 precision mechanism rotation speeder zoomer doodads. Yes, excellent, good. And the reason I've gone ahead and made 2 of these is because I want one to run a steam engine, which is going to go out the back here. So I'm thinking we'll just extend out our little catwalky thing here at the back. And then that's why I got these extra blaze burners, so I can make just a little 2x2 steam engine. You know, nothing too crazy, maybe just like a level 3 or 4 should cover all of the power we need for the starter house here, definitely. So the steam engine itself we'll probably put like right here, and that'll be 3 blocks tall, something like this. Yeah, and then we're probably also gonna want a bit of a lava storage tank as like a little buffer, and then also a handful of cauldrons to make like a little lava farm. Although immediately looking at this, I kind of want to redo the layout. And you know what, a little bit of a rework later, and this is much better. We have 2 little lava farms with 18 cauldrons in total, and this is going to go into this big fluid tank as a buffer, and then into the blaze burners, which I have a mod that lets we just pump liquid directly into these, and we don't need to use the straw or anything. All that's left to do is I gotta hook up all the pipes and all the connections and stuff, and just get stuff moving and grooving. Which I realize now I have made this difficult on myself because I forgot to add a place for water, so I guess we'll have to do something like this under here to get the water in there. Sure, that'll work. Oh, and of course the steam engines, they're just kind of going to come off the side here, and we'll do some shenanigans here to get it into the building, I think. And you know what, just because I'm going to be working out here for a little while, I've brought out the connector and a crafting terminal so we can just grab our items from out here as well. Saves me running back in and out of the house like 17,000 times. And even with my absolute tangle of pipes going on down here, it has immediately turned on and is running passively, so this is a really good sign. So all that's left to do is to gather up a ton of lava buckets and get the actual lava farm bit working, and this should be operational. So with these lava buckets going in, this now should slowly trickle feed the steam engine, and it should start to power up over the next few minutes. So I think I'm just going to go AFK for a couple minutes and let this thing build up and see what level boiler we actually reach. I think because we've only got the 4 burners, it should only be a level 4 to begin with, which I think is still 65,000 SU when it's running. Which is it's pretty good. And you know what, while I'm waiting, I might as well make myself some goggles here, because I haven't made any yet for some reason. Alright, so it's been about an hour, and you can see this is definitely already filling up with lava buckets. We got plenty in stock, and yeah, this is running at level 4. Awesome. Which means I can finally start kitting out the little create workshop in my house. Excellent. So what we'll probably plan on doing is we'll bring the power up through the floor, and we'll probably bring it up through these 2 corners here, like this. So on this side, what we'll probably do is have 2 presses and a deployer for just like general use. On this side, I'll probably want to put down 2 mechanical mixers, and maybe a millstone would be a good idea. Of course, these 2 mixers will both have blaze burners underneath. I'll just need to go and grab another one of those. And then our millstone can go right there, and why not? We'll make it a scorch heater millstone. Fancy. And then to power these, we'll probably just run a bunch of cogs around like this, and we'll put some brackets on it and make it look nice later on. So those 2 connection points, they're going to come across to where the steam engine is, and I've brought all the power down here to this. So maybe here is where we'll put our rotation speed controller, large cog there. And then if I just grab a vertical gearbox in a sec, we can chuck that there, and that's going to hook those up together. And that gets all of this running at maximum speed. You'll love to see it. And you know, one thing that might be worth doing actually is making a speedometer into a stressometer, and then we can whack this like right here, and then we have a little stress reader as well. And let me tell you, being able to press ingots at this speed, oh my god, this is a game changer for me. And then the last thing I want to try and squeeze into this area is going to be a mechanical saw, but I don't know how I'm going to do this one, honestly. Because usually the way I do my mechanical saws is if I put a hole there, I'd have a chute there, my saw here, this here, and then like that, so it kind of flows down, but I don't really know how to hook up the power to that. A good option we may have would be to use item drains like this, and then maybe if we sacrificed our window, did some like barrels and stuff here, maybe? And I just kind of hope that the items roll the way I want them to when they come out of here. Ah, wait, no, they're not. If they come out this way, they're just going to go forwards, aren't they? Ugh. I guess another option could be to pull everything forward by a block so we can have it here. That would mean some of this sticks over a little bit, but that's definitely doable. Yeah, and a little rework later, and I've definitely got this figured out. This thing looks pretty cool like this, actually. There's no real need to have 2 millstones here, but I like the symmetry. And if I just grab a handful of logs, we can throw these in here. They're going to come straight across and into this barrel here, which this is a really nice, clean little setup. And we also got the stressometer in here, so we can see how much stress we've got remaining, which is more than enough. I did end up losing one of the presses, however, so if I ever need to press a bunch of stuff, I guess I'll just switch this deployer out until I set another deployer thing up elsewhere. And then, of course, I've just got the little smoking, blasting, washing, haunting stuff set up here. These were dead easy to do. And these little catalyst blocks are awesome. They're exactly the same as using lava or water, but obviously it's not going to spill out everywhere. I can put them next to each other, and they don't make particle effects and stuff, so they're just a little bit more lag friendly, honestly. One thing I definitely missed, however, was the mechanical crafter and crushing wheels, which I think the crushing wheels I'm going to put in the floor here. Like, we'll have a little drop down and we'll have them blow back up into a chest here or something. And the mechanical crafter is probably going to take up this space, so the little bedroom I made is not going to last very long. But those are all things that I think I'm going to do next time, because I am running out of time for this video. I have about half an hour to get all these clips uploaded to my Google Drive for the editor, and that's not going to happen. But for those who caught the end of the last episode, you'll know that the starter house isn't technically fully finished yet. We still have 2 more things I want to squeeze in here. One of those being a mechanical crafter in this space right here, and some crushing wheels underneath the ground. So we're going to get started on that by seeing what we have to make the mechanical crafters. No brass casings and no crafting tables. Excellent. Thankfully though, that stuff wasn't too difficult to make, so we can go right ahead and squeeze our mechanical crafter right into this corner here. And then we'll probably quite easily just be able to run the power down underground. It should be like just over here, so we'll just have to dig a little bit of a tunnel over there and see where the power's at. And you know what, actually, before I connect the power to this thing, I'm curious how much this actually uses. So we're on 57 remaining. If I connect this, how much are we on now? 46. Damn, this thing uses like 11,000 stress units. That's kind of insane. These things are hungry for stress units. I never realized how bad they actually were. But with that hooked up, that does mean we now have access to the wonderful crushing wheels, which I am going to go ahead and make 2 sets of here. You never know when I'm going to need another pair, so couldn't hurt while I've got the resources to make them. Oh, I don't know what you mean. I never failed that. I got it right first try. Yep. Me? Fail? Never. Anyway, the plan is, I think we're going to put a barrel here with these ones, and then we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, perfect. Level with this wall here. We'll put another barrel there, and that will be the output for the crushing wheels. And if we dig a bit of space out of our floor, what we'll probably do is we'll put them right here on these blocks and then put some glass over the top so we can actually look down into them, which I think will be pretty cool. And this is going to be super simple for us to set up, because all we're going to need to do really is have the items drop down here onto a belt to probably this same area. We'll have another chute here and then a fan that's going to blow the items upwards into that chest. And a neat little thing I learned about crushing wheels recently that apparently I've known for a while but never thought about is that if you put 2 vertical gearboxes on a belt like this connected to the belt itself, and then the crushing wheels on those, if you power the belt from anywhere but those gearboxes, it will always spin in the right direction that the belt is going. Or at least in my experience, I've never found it to go wrong doing that, so sure. But you know, a little bit of tinkering later, and I think this looks pretty good. It's a nice little easy way to set up a crushing wheel. So all we need to do is just drop our stuff in there, and then obviously now we can crush all of our ores and stuff like that, which will be really nice for experience. And then we can also take these and wash them for the extra outputs, which is definitely handy when you're getting started in a world like this. But yeah, these are definitely going to help out to make the farms I want to do today, and I actually have 3 planned, and I'm not going to go too crazy with them. I just want some basic little farms to help us get started on building the actual bigger, better farms, you know? So what I want to get set up is a little tree farm area, a little andesite farm if possible. I'm still not sure how I'm going to do this one, so we'll hold fire. And potentially also an iron generator, because that's going to be pretty helpful as well with the create stuff. But yeah, these 3 resources combined, we're pretty much going to be able to do anything we want with the andesite age of create, which is definitely a point of tedium for me at the minute, having to craft all my andesite alloys and the cogs and the shafts, because I don't really have the stuff to make them en masse, which is kind of annoying at the minute. And I'd like to get like some toolboxes set up or something like that. So yeah, these farms will definitely help out with that. So I'll pop them up here by our door as our little reminder of everything we need to do today. So nothing much left to do but to get started. And I think I'm going to go with the easiest thing first, which is going to be the wood farms. And you know, I could very easily just slap down like a windmill bearing and make them just the jankiest things ever just to get started. But I do want them to look at least somewhat nice. So we are going to do like a little bit of building and decor to go with these farms, but nothing major. So for the tree farm, I do want to make up like a little lumber mill style thing and maybe have a nice interesting way of delivering the items to the storage system. So I'm thinking maybe around the back of the house here in this area, we'll build a spruce one, a dark oak one, maybe a jungle one and an oak one. just to get us started. The rest of the woods I don't use too much, so should be fine. And then maybe somewhere in this area here, we'll build up like a little barn or warehouse kind of thing, and we'll have them all be delivered to there. Probably maybe a little train or a little minecart will do, but we'll see. But I can't really do any of that without clearing the land and probably flattening it out a bit and covering over these caves. So I got a little bit of work to do, I better go get my saw. And with a backpack full of materials, let's build some tree farms. And you know, I'd love to say that they're going to be particularly exciting, but the plan is literally just to have a water wheel in the ground, a clutch for some redstone control, and a mechanical bearing, and that's the farm right there. I mean, obviously we're going to sink those parts into the ground, so we'll save our middle bits there. I'm going to do the jungle wood at the back because they're probably some of the taller trees, and we'll probably lay out the farms like this, so we'll have 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, maybe something like this. Although looking at this, I actually think we probably want to sink this down into the ground up block. And we're going to ignore the bit of land that I filled over and definitely didn't fill in. You saw nothing. And for decoration, what I'm probably going to do here is we'll have a nice rim of deep slate, and then we'll just fill in the middle space with whatever wood the farm's going to be producing. With a little bit of messing around, I think this looks pretty good, and this is going to be nice and easy to do multiple times for all the different types of wood. But as for the actual mechanism, it's going to be super simple. We're just going to take a chassis, 2 saws, probably 2 deployers just up on top there, a bit of a chest for some storage, and then we'll probably whack a portable storage thingy just right on the end here. And then for collection, we'll have that there, and I guess we'll just send it into a chest for right now, and then we'll figure out what to do with this in a bit. And that reminds me, I also need to go and make a piece of glue so I can actually stick all this together. Although looking at this, the deployers need to be a block higher, don't they? Yeah, they do. F. Alright, time to rip it all down again. Lol. I mean, it's a little bit cursed with the deployers going through the chest there, but you know what? Good enough. So I'll just give this the saplings that I have, which admittedly isn't many, and once we've glued this up, we can set it off to go. And that should hopefully be just as simple as that. And yeah, that's now off doing its thing. I might just grab a bit of bone meal actually and manually grow a couple of these trees just to help build up the saplings and get the farm running. And that was easy enough, just a handful of bone meal and growing 1 or 2 trees, and we've filled up half of the thing, so I'm just going to let this run while we build up the other farms. What? Yeah, almost immediately that one grows. Nice, okay, so it is working. And while we're doing the big double tall trees, we might as well do the spruce, which I think I'm going to put just right next to this one right here. Next up, of course, is then going to be the dark oak wood. And then, of course, just a bit of the regular old oak wood as well. And then lastly, of course, a bit of birch wood. And I'm 1 coarse dirt short. Are you... And with very minimal effort, there is 5 completely functioning tree farms. Although I have noticed already the single double chest that I set up for these is filling up rather quickly. The jungle one is over half full already. So I think we really need to get a move on with the storage system before they actually start overflowing. And for that storage, I think it's going to be relatively simple. All we're going to do is just throw down a 2x2x2 vault for each wood type. And then in front of those, we'll have a depot to collect items from, a threshold switch, which will then link up to maybe some Nixie tubes up on the top here to show the amounts. Although I realize these are going to connect to each other, so we probably want to do some shenanigans where we place every other one upside down like this so they don't connect to each other, which does look a little goofy, but it's fine. And then yeah, for these display links, we'll set them to just a percentage, because I think that'll be pretty good. As for these, we'll say, might as well make it 100%, 95%, and then sure, like 50. Then we'll have maybe a 4-block gap in the middle here, so the next set of vaults on the other side will go just here. And then we'll just do the exact same thing again, threshold switches, depots, and all that good stuff. And yeah, and to get the items from the farms to the actual storage, I honestly think I'm just going to run a belt along the ground. I mean, I think that should be far enough, right? Yeah, that can connect to there. We'll have one come from here to, let's say, about here-ish. Then once we get here, we'll transition it to a single belt like that. They can connect into here, and they'll all come around. Probably into the back here, where we can just send them around. We'll have the belt turn here, and then come around the back of these. And then I guess at the very end here, we can just have it drop into lava, whatever doesn't get picked up. However, doing that does also mean I now need to go and get some more kelp, because I used up all of mine making these 4 belts. I really didn't have a lot. And you know what? I think this turned out pretty good. I'm actually really happy with how these turned out. So obviously we've got all of our main trees being produced here, simple little rotating tree farms. A handful of them are still filling up with saplings, but that is fine. And then they all go underground into our little storage shed, which you may recognize this design from our old world, but I really liked it, so I ended up sticking with it again. So obviously we've got all the woods being stored. I have a slot here for mangrove, which is going to go in this slot here, but I haven't quite figured out how to do a mangrove farm because the roots get really weird and all that stuff. And then of course we have all of the saplings come through here. They get bone mealed and go into the vault as well as just a little supply of sticks. Any overflow of items does just get burned off, and also we have redstone links hooked up to all of these, except I haven't set them for this side. Whoops. Let's just do that real quick. So basically, when these vaults fill up, it's also going to trigger the clutches, which will turn off the tree farms themselves, so they won't be running 100% of the time. But with those tree farms done, that is one thing off our list of what we actually want to do today, so that's good progress. So next up on our list is the iron and the andesite, which I did have a thought about, right? So the recipe I'll be using for the andesite itself will be this one with flint, gravel, and lava. Now, flint will be getting anyway from washing the gravel to get the iron, so it makes sense to me that we kind of try and combine both of these farms together, use the flint from the iron farm for the andesite farm as well. And for both of those builds, I'm thinking we do some kind of like mine shafty type build, but I'm not really sure where to put it, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe we clear out a bit of space in this kind of area and we'll build it like a little rocky alcove sort of thing, which will then go down underground in this kind of area. And then for each process of the farm, like the gravel generation, the lava, we'll kind of just dig a new room in the mine shaft, which I think will end up looking pretty cool. Well, that was definitely a lot of digging and building I just did, but you know what? Even though I feel like I probably got a little bit carried away, I'm really happy with the stuff that we built here. So first up, we have the mineshaft elevator. We have kind of this little opening in the ground. All of the walls and stuff still really need terraforming, but that's a later Skeech problem. This was very much inspired by the elevator we built in our last world. We've added some new elements to it, switched it up a little bit. The power just comes up from some water wheels underground, and the elevator pulley up top. So if we head down to the bottom, you'll see there is an absolutely ginormous room that we have now dug out. That is also a slime chunk. Ooh, that's really interesting, actually. But yeah, I've gone ahead and dug out this absolutely enormous room, and we have a ton of catwalks leading to different areas. So we have one down here, one down there, and one over there, and those are all going to be different rooms for the farms we're going to be building. So the plan is one of them will be for lava production, one will be an andesite farm, and then the other will be for an iron farm. And what I want to do is have a ton of belts and pipes and bits running through the center area here, passing the items between the different farms wherever they need to go. So for example, we'll have the lava come out of here, it'll go into here, into the andesite farm, which the leftover gravel from this will be taken out of there and then passed over the iron farm to be turned into iron. And then maybe even the flint that we're getting from the iron farm can be passed back to the andesite farm to make even more andesite, and they'll all kind of feed into each other. Definitely gonna cause some issues when it comes to like balancing items and overflows and making sure nothing backs up and stuff, but I think it'll be an interesting challenge. I'm up for it. And the astute among you will notice there is some rather large holes in between these catwalks, and that is because this whole area was really inspired by the caverns areas of Poppy Playtime, which is a game that I'm sure many of you know. I actually really love that game. I think it's such cool art design. And I absolutely adore the kind of outdoors cavern-y areas with all these really rickety and scaffold-like pathways between them. And while I was putting this together, I kind of got the idea that in the game as well, they have like the little purple jump pad thingies. And what they essentially do is they fling you up when you use them. And we have the exact same thing in Create, the weighted ejector. So I've designed all of these so that we can simply just jump down them without taking any fall damage. But then on the edges of all of these, we'll set up some weighted ejectors to fling ourselves back up and kind of get that purple jump pad kind of jumpiness. So I got a little bit of wiring to do. I got to figure out how to get some power down here. And of course, I'm going to have to decorate all of this and make it not out of cobblestone and horrifying other various blocks. It looks terrible right now. Once again, another problem for later Skeege. But yes, we're going to get some power down here, hook up all those weighted ejectors. And then I want to get started on the mechanics for this, like getting all the farms in, because we've done a lot of building and I would like to move on and do something a little more fun and technical. And you know what? I actually kind of want to do that now, so I'm just going to crack on and get these rooms dug out. And for now, I'm just going to hook up some little stairs between the platforms and definitely finish it off later on.
Meanwhile,
and because I'm a goopy goblin-brained idiot, I've been recording for the last hour and also didn't hit the record button. So that was good of me. Love that. But I have made good progress on the cobblestone generator part of the build, which I think this is now pretty much entirely functional. So we've got the power that comes in across the roof through all these cogs and stuff, comes in through the walls and then splits onto either side. It goes into here on a clutch so we can turn it on and off. And then it's my same little kind of cobble gen design where the smart observer detects stone, flips the gear shift, and then pulls the gantry inwards. But the storage is where this is going to get interesting, because I need to pull the items off here, bring them down to that end to be turned into gravel, but then I need to bring the excess gravel back through the middle along this belt here. So that's going to be fun. And with the help of Petrol's parts, an add-on that I found and downloaded, we have these diagonal shafts, which are so much cheaper than a gearbox for when you want to do stuff like this, and that is going the right direction. Fantastic. But the challenging part is we need the belt to come to here, but then that's going to conflict with that. That's problematic. Although what we could do actually is if we dug out a space there, put some chain drives, we can just sink the belt down a block into the ground here. That should work. Yeah, because then this one can just come along here and go down and across like this. And then when it comes to bringing the items out, we'll have a belt along the center here. And this will be bringing the excess gravel out to the andesite part of the farm. The andesite part? No, the iron farm needs the excess gravel, yes. There's too many things going on here. My small monkey brain cannot comprehend. And then to actually extract the items from here, I think we'll put a double chest like this, and then we need a funnel to go on that. So we'll have a brass funnel there. And then I imagine once we glue this on, the chest will move with the contraption, but then when it's stationary here, it will drain the items out of it. So if I put that in there, yeah, that's going to come out and go down. So now if I flip this back on, we should see it not moving. I guess this trapdoor is blocking it from moving. That's quite annoying, actually. Yep, and simple enough solution. Just lowered the whole belt down and put the barrel as part of the chassis here. So that should work now if we do this. Yep, and then cobblestone out of here when it's done. Yeah, perfect. And then on the opposite side, we just need to hook up a belt with the same sort of setup. So where can we take the power from? Right here, perfect. And a gearbox there, and yep, they're all hooked up. So now if we turn it on, we should see both of these are draining their items when they're done. Yep, 1 and 2, perfect. And then the last thing I want to do is just clump those items together. So we'll put some funnels there to intake. And then on the output, we'll say exactly 8 items, because that's going to combine both of these into one output. And I know this looks quite messy, but once we've tidied the room up a bit, made it look more cavey, it should hopefully feel right at home in here, which should be good to see. So yeah, all that's left to do now is we just need to duplicate this on the other side, and I'm almost tempted to make these deeper. So at the minute we've got 4 per side, but I might make this 8 deep, so go another 4 blocks that way, which is super simple. It's just more of, you know, extending this out, which is not a problem at all. And you know what? Wasn't too bad at all. We'd literally just copied it over to the other side, made it nice and symmetrical, and now if I flip this lever, we should see all of these kick off at the same time, and a whole bunch of cobblestone start flowing into here. Amazing. And after spending a little bit more time on the logistics of this, I've gotten the crushing wheels in place, and they are malfunctioning. That should not be processing that. But that's a problem for in a moment. So yeah, what we've got going on here is the cobble comes through and it gets weighted ejected into the crushing wheels here. The gravel then comes out of the back and meets in the middle, which is then taken off to our little belt system along the front. And this is going to go off to the iron farm part of the build. So now obviously when we get the iron farm hooked up, that is then going to have the flint coming out of here. This will probably go over this way towards the andesite farm. So these belts are going to need to be switched around, and I don't think this pump here is actually going to be necessary because I'll build the lava with the andesite farm. It didn't occur to me until just now, really, that when I was building this, I actually needed 4 rooms rather than the 3. So that's a little bit of an error on my part, but you know, we'll roll with it. And I've also realized yet another mistake I've made in that we need to send the gravel to the andesite farm first, so then the overflow can be sent to the iron farm. Okay, well, we don't need this pipe here, as we've established, so if we got rid of that pipe, maybe put another belt going into that room there, we can maybe add a tunnel onto this, and we'll just say, like, closest first, so it will always go this way, and then the overflow will go that way. Yeah, I think that works, so I'm going to get that hooked up, and we'll see what it's like. Okay, so slight change to the layout of the belts, but, oh, okay. No, that still doesn't work. Love that.
1 eternity later.
Okay, it took a lot of finagling actually, and a little bit of creative testing, but I think I maybe just misunderstood how these funnels work, but I've set a filter for gravel on this side and nothing on this side. And now you can see all of it's going this way, and if we block this up and pretend it's full, you can see they're now going to start coming out and going over to the iron farm side. So that's pretty good. That's one problem solved here, although I have created a rather large pile of gravel on the floors here, so I better clean that up there. We also really need to get some diving boots because, crawling along these belts is It's not a good time. Also, mild alarm bells are ringing. I definitely did not fix the cobblestone issue, so this has been piling up. Why are you not doing the thing? You should be locked. How are you doing that? Okay, problem kind of solved. I've just lowered the silo down because I believe what was happening is the items were just going underneath the silo and ignoring the funnels, but this should do the trick. If we set these back to how they were, and then add our inserts here, 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 and here. Yes, good. They are not dispensing any more cobblestone. Perfect. So now if this were to empty, for example, it would start again. Brilliant. Love that. Anyway, back to what we were doing. I think we need to do the iron farm section next, actually, because we need to get the flint going for the andesite farm. Yeah. And the iron farm is going to be dead simple because realistically, we've got the gravel already. We've done the hard part of that. All we need to do is wash it, pick out the flint, send the iron to a storage, and then add an overflow protection. And that's about it. So what I'm thinking is we've got kind of this little room here. In the drop down here, we'll make like a bit of a washing station. And then maybe like right here in the walls, we'll have some vaults which will store a bunch of flint in, for one. And then on this side, we'll store the iron bits and bobs. And I really wish item vaults weren't so expensive to make. You know how many barrels I've had to make today? Unreal amount. Oh, and amount of iron sheets as well. Brilliant. So for the washing bit, what I'm going to do is we're going to have the gravel come up from underground with a fan here. That's going to blow up on top of there. We'll have a barrel with an input here, and this has a deny filter for gravel. So it's going to come up onto here, hopefully, and then that should sit there until it's washed. And the fans, we're going to put one either side like this, and then probably one up in the roof here like this. And then of course we'll probably just hook these chain drives up underground and then that one through the roof somehow, and it should all work out. And then of course, because we're going to have the items come into that barrel and back underground, we can then just sort them left and right. Iron goes this way, flint goes this way, straight into these vaults, and then that obviously will go off to wherever it needs to go in the build here. And honestly, this is nothing really that exciting. It's just a lot of belts need to be hooked up, so I'm gonna get on that, run some shafts, run some belts, and see what it's like when it's done. Okay, so it's all hooked up in here. You can see we've got belts and shafts and God knows what going all around the outside. I've even done a little bit of redstone for the overflow protection. So the farm will only turn off if both of the iron and the flint are full. And before anybody murders me, I'm going to be honest, I still haven't installed free cam. I'm just using spectator mode at this point. Like, I don't care. Go have a fight in the comments about it. I swear, I don't give an F, dude. But if we just drop down here to the gravel input and we just pop this here, that is going to unleash the gravel. So we need to get back up there to see if it's working. And yeah, looks like the gravel is popping up. Obviously, there's going to be a massive amount of it currently because obviously we've not built the andesite half of this yet. But I'm actually just going to let this run because this should turn itself off once it is completely full. So I've got no worries with leaving this on. It's all overflow protected. And if needs be, I'll just disconnect the power for a moment. Like, I'll just disconnect this up here and it'll be more than fine. But anyway, with that done, it's time for the main event, the andesite farm. And I've already kind of dug out a room for this. So I think the plan is going to be, if I grab myself some cauldrons, what we're going to do is we're going to scatter these kind of in the corners, maybe? Or actually, you know what, we can dig out a little space in the side walls here and have our little lava farms in the sides. So if we say, I mean, that's 20 right there, we put one on this side as well, and one there, that's going to be 60 dripstone worth of lava coming through here. That should be pretty good, honestly. And then perhaps we could even do some, you know, fluid tanks in these corners here, like that. And just looking at the recipe here, I'm kind of trying to figure out what would be the best way to import the items into the farm. Because say we have a base in here that's going to be making the andesite, we're going to want to have a pipe coming into it, as well as 2 belts feeding the items in. But that kind of doesn't work for what I want to do, because I want to kind of have a row of these things. Like we'll have like 5 of these. Maybe 3 actually. So 3 basins. And then we're going to need to input items on both sides. So we'll have the flint coming in here, the andesite coming in, no, the gravel coming in here, and then the pipe probably underneath. I mean, it's not a lot of space. Ooh, unless I just had a brainwave, so a mechanical whisk will actually work through a pipe. So we could really compact this down if we have our pipe coming in the back like this, into the top of the basins. We can have the, I think I said whisks last time, I meant to say presses. They're going to be on top here, and then we can run belts either side with tunnels to split the items among the 4 things here. That's perfect. And then underneath those, we'll run a belt, which will then put smart chutes underneath these. So they'll go to like there. And then we'll have obviously our pipe business. And then we can run our other belts just into it like this. A nice little grid, like something like this. And I reckon when we're viewing this from up here from our little scaffolding, that's going to look really cool to look down, and with all the different item belts and stuff, that'll be great. And actually giving this a further little bit of thought, instead of having 3 lava farms and 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, we can put a nice big item silo in the back here to actually store the andesite, and we'll take the outputs this way directly into it. That would be great, actually. That'd be really good. Yes, I think that shall work pretty well, actually. So I really need to go and do some material grinding, because this is about all I've got left, but the brain is braining. Thoughts are happening. The Skeege Giga brain is in effect right now. Yes. Good. Okay, so I think I've just about got this thing worked out. It's been working wonderfully. All the lava that I built up whilst working on this thing, I actually made a whole bunch of andesite. We got like 400 in that one, 400 in that one. That's 10 stacks or so. It's pretty good. And yeah, this was actually relatively simple. I yet again had trouble with the tunnels, because I am pretty sure I just don't understand how these things work. I'm really going to have to do a bit more of a in-depth dive on them to figure them out properly, because yeah, it took me embarrassingly long to get this set up. But all in all, it looks really great. We've got 2 giant vaults on either side. Just needs a little bit of decoration in here, I think. And this room is pretty much good to go. And, oh, yep, there it goes. Bit more lava. It is the sound of industry. It's excellent. I love it. But yeah, we're definitely keeping up on all of the products for this. We've got so much flint in backlog. We're getting plenty of gravel, because the overflow is still going to the iron farm over there. So yeah, I think this is actually working out exactly how I wanted it to, which is really exciting. It's definitely been on the larger side of builds that I've done, to be fair. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with how this has gone. I think it just needs a bit of time to kind of settle, fill up the belts, and get going again. But yeah, no, this has turned out amazing, actually. I have actually gone ahead and decorated the cave that we built, and I gotta say, it's looking pretty good in here. We're going to ignore the fact that I haven't fully decorated the main room, but the side rooms look really good. Check this stuff out. So the washing room got kind of like a overgrown and lush cave kind of vibe. The cobblestone and gravel generator room kind of got like a cobbly, tough, dripstone-y kind of vibe here. And then the room for the andesite farm kind of got like this molten, dripstone-y, basalty cave kind of look, which I think looks really awesome. Oh yeah, and I definitely remembered to add funnels and depots to get the items out last time. Yep, didn't forget that. Nope, not me. I'd never forget a really important part of a build. Don't know what you mean. But yes, today I plan on expanding out our storage system and making a new workshop, because if we come in here, this is fine in here, right? But we're very quickly outgrowing this. I really want to get some toolboxes set up with a bunch of the andesite age and a couple of the brass age pieces, and using this workshop is fine, but when you want to make stuff in bulk, this tiny little setup here isn't great. It takes a really long time. So yeah, I'm thinking in this area out here, we're going to be working on a brand new workshop. And hello, sir? Can you... do you mind? You know, the wandering trader just mysteriously disappeared. And looks like we have some more guests. Oh boy. Oh, and they've just disappeared as well. That's so strange. I wonder how that happened. Anywho, I've actually come up with a bit of a plan. I want to deal with the storage first, or at least kind of show off my plan, because I've actually done some creative testing and worked out something really interesting. And I want to make use of these limited barrels from sophisticated storage, because essentially these are just drawers, which if you've watched any Create Mod playthrough in the last year, you'll know what storage drawers are. But basically the crux of it is they hold a ton of a single type of item, or 2 or 4 depending on what variant of these you make. But the neat thing about the sophisticated storage ones is they have this slot up here which is for stack upgrades. And if we look in the backpack version, you'll see I also have these, and these basically increase the number of items you can have in a slot. And the stack upgrades are really cool. So for example, if we put in some deep slate into just one of these standard barrels, you'll see it can hold 2048 items, or 32 stacks. But if we even just put in a tier 1 stack upgrade, we're gonna double that number. And these things, they go up pretty far. So a tier 3 here, and all of a sudden, this now holds 16,000 items. But it doesn't stop there, because you see, this is just the tier 1 barrel. If we surround this thing in iron, we get an iron barrel. And then we could do the same again with gold to make it a gold barrel. And then if we could even make it a diamond barrel if we really want to. And then if you're insanely rich, you can even make it a netherite barrel. But I'm not that rich currently, so I'm not doing that. But for example, if we look at the diamond barrel here and we put our deep slate in it, the base stack size 8,000, which is 4 times the size as the normal barrel. And also you get more upgrade slots, which means, oh boy, we can stack the stack upgrades. And that now has a storage of 500,000, so they can hold quite a few items. And what makes this even more neat is that we can have this block here called a storage controller, which we can link the barrels to, and this can have an unlimited amount of barrels connected to it. And then this can accept inputs and outputs from Tom's Simple Storage with an inventory interface, and can then use these barrels as part of the storage network. I think you can see where I'm going with this. So for all of our bulk items that are in our system right now, so deep slate, stone, cobble, all of this stuff that I have like thousands of, we can put into these barrels, and then we can just use chests or vaults again for like the smaller bits of storage, and it should free up loads and loads of space in our vaults for more items. Because what I'm struggling with at the minute is the vaults are getting really full because we just have so much of this like stone and dirt material that I've not really got space for anything else. I keep running out of storage in these things, and I've had to expand them twice already. But the downside is, as much as I want to get this going right now, I kind of want to do the workshop first, because I want to build the workshop in this area here, and then convert the starter house here into our new storage room. So for example, we'll put all the barrels in these side sections, and then we'll just lay out a bunch of chests or vaults or just something or other in the other areas to make up the misc storage bits. So that means that I have a lot of item crafting to do. Yippee! Can't wait to go to the ocean and have to make 900 belts and or cogs and or everything else that I'm going to need for this. Oh boy. Although before I get started, I'm going to at least be kind of smart and make a list of all the machines I want to build in there so I can kind of get a vibe for the size that I want. So I've got my clipboard here, and how long has that been there? I'm just going to pretend that I didn't see that, and this is the list of everything I think I want to put in here. Some upgraded mixers with burners. Yes, I want the hot boys. A big press setup, some saws, crushing wheels, mechanical crafter, lava and water spouting, a precision mechanism maker, because I still don't have one. And then I want to do like a custom sequence crafter thing. So we'll have like a precision mechanism setup, but a bunch of stuff next to it so we can swap and change it for different sequence crafting, and then just a little storage terminal for us to actually get access to stuff. And I do just need to check on, ooh, yeah, we're gonna need another steam engine. Okay, adding that to the list. Steam engine. The iron farm is connected to this currently, so So yeah, this is eating much of the power. But everything aside, I think the plan for the build is we're going to have another one of these catwalk type areas off to the side, probably right about in this area, so we'll mark that down. And this is probably going to need to be a level 9 steam engine at this point, so we're going to need a lot of space for this. And then we're probably going to lay this out quite similar to the other area, and we'll do these like little grids of stuff. So if we have, say, a couple of sets of cauldrons here, these will be our dripstone farms for the steam engine. And then we'll give it a bit of space, and then we'll say right here, this will be a lava storage tank, and then the actual engine can go right here. And I think that's pretty good. And actually, if we just move these over a block, then that's a perfect little grid right there. Nice. Now, hooking this up and all the pipe work and the power and everything, that is a problem for later, Skeech. I don't want to deal with that right now. I just want to build funny little things. And by that, I mean lay out some horrible lines to give myself a building guide and probably not follow them whatsoever, because that's normally what I do. And you know, I think this shape is pretty good. I'm going to try and incorporate the nether portal into the back of the build as well, because it's already there. I might as well whack it in as part of the build. But I still have no idea how I'm going to lay this out. I've kind of tried to give myself like 3 blocks deep where machines are going to go, so I've got space for wires, and then 2 blocks for machines, but yeah, it's going to be tricky to fit this all in, I think. And I kind of can't really do the machines until I've got the power up and running, so I think we need to work on this first. And already looking at this, I kind of don't like this little overhangy bit, so I'm going to push this back so it's level with the building there. And you know, just while I'm working on this, I figured I would share a little bit of news, both about the pack and the my life situation, because as we all know, the last video took me about 8 years to make, and that is mostly because I, in the last few weeks, have actually moved house. I moved out of my parents' place and I have my own flat now. And the most exciting part of that is that I actually have my own office now, which is so cool. I'm sure my editor will be putting up some photos right about now of what I've got going on, and yeah, it's mostly like Warhammer 40k stuff because I don't go outside very often. But the nice thing is, not being at home, is that I'm able to record properly, and I just don't really have any restrictions anymore, which feels so nice. It does suck that the move took up so much of my time and effort that I wasn't really able to do any video stuff while moving, but now we're in and we're settled, it's super nice to actually have my own space to do all of this stuff. And then the other thing I just wanted to briefly mention is that my pack here probably isn't going to be updated to the new Create update for a while. I haven't even opened it yet, I'm not gonna lie, I've been slacking a bit. But generally with mod packs, if you try to update them a bunch at once, it causes a lot of problems. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of testing with it to even get it into the new Create version. Don't get me wrong, I do want to. The new stuff looks really cool. I have seen a bunch of it, the gauges and the frog ports and the chain conveyors. I'm very excited for it, but yeah, it's gonna be a while before that happens. And after poking around with some cables for a bit, I think I've got this pretty good to go. All we need to do now is just cover everything up, do a bit of cover up with some casings like so, and then this should be okay actually. Ended up being dead simple. We've just got some water wheels into a rotation speed controller, which I made by hand, I'll have you know. Can't wait to automate that process. We then have one pump that's going to go into the boiler, one that's going to go into the workshop for other stuff, and then we have all of the lava farms hooked up with just the one cable. And I may have had a poke around in the create configs and increased the distance at which pumps can pull from and doubled it to 32 because 16 just seems pitiful. But we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to pretend that everything is fine. Then just with some shafts on top here, we should see this thing start working, which is great. Although, why are we on passive power? No heat. Ah, yes. I haven't put the blazes in the blaze burners. Wait, level 6? What's the problem? Oh, signs. I see. Okay. Yes, there we go. Level 9, 147,000 SU. Now we can build a workshop. Oh boy. And after way too long, and admittedly me getting brain dead a few times making this, I think I'm finally happy with the layout of our little workshop here. So on the left here, we've got our precision mechanism maker. We've got a custom one here that we can swap the parts out for other stuff. We got the old same crushing wheel set up in the floor. We got some millstones and some other bits. Mechanical crafter. Over here we've got some presses and some saws, and in the back we have a... Ooh, it's andesite alloy in here. A mixing setup, some deployers, and a slicer, and then obviously our fan setup. And I definitely didn't forget about the fans until last minute. I would never do that. Definitely didn't do that in the starter house either. The only thing I'm now struggling with is I don't know where to put the crafting terminal for an access to our storage, which I know I technically have the wireless terminal, which I've had this for a while, but I would still like to have a physical one in here just in case like it goes down or whatever. So I think here's a good spot, but I really don't know where else to put it, honestly. But overall, pretty happy with the interior. It's very strange, actually. I never normally build this way. I always have a tendency to do the building first and then try and squeeze everything in, but this time I've done the interior first, and I'm much happier with the layout of this. I didn't feel restricted or anything by my layout, so this was a nice change. But it is time that we actually do build a building around this, and I'm not looking forward to it, because I have absolutely no idea what I want to do. I think I'm actually going to do this over on a stream, and hopefully if my editor's feeling kind enough and will be willing to cut down some clips for me, maybe I'll include some in the video. And of course, if this was on a stream, this will be before this video comes out, so you'll have already seen it, but now it's happening now in the future, even though it's already happened. Yes. Yes. Does it track how many times I've crafted stuff? Yes. Where are barrels? Where are they? 503 of them. I endlessly craft barrels in this world. It's unreal. You know, I sometimes wonder, you know, they find my channel through my videos and all, and then you come to the stream and it's just like 2 hours of nonsensical babbling. And quite honestly, I'm quite pleased with that standard that I've set for myself. I want people to come into these streams and be like, what the fuck? How is this the same man? The videos are me speaking like a proper stereotypical British man, and then, yeah, the streams are me talking like an actual British man. That is annoyingly accurate. Thanks for the tutorials. Chained and barbed iron bars. Sorry, I'm so sorry. That was like 2 comments that I was trying to read at the same time. And that bamboozled me. I can't lie. I started reading one thing and then my eye drifted to the message above, and it actually threw me so bad. Yeah, after the stream, I think we were pretty productive. I pretty much got this entire build done. It actually, once I kind of got the design down, it went really quickly. So we've kind of kept the same elements here with the mud and the jungle, but then we've also added in a new section of like the red brick look. And I finally made a grappling whisk, so I can do this now. It's super handy. And yeah, we've got like a steel kind of corrugated roof with these chimneys as detail. And I really like the way this is all turning out. But the real piece de resistance is inside. Check this place out. I love this in here so much. It's come together so nicely. I really love this space. I think it's such a nice little area to be in. And we won't talk about my hidden underground basement for cables. That was definitely covered up, yes. So yeah, as we saw before, we got our workstations there, crafters, mixed stuff. I've moved all of the chipped tables in here. And I've even dragged over a cable for our storage, and I did end up putting it here because I found the space to put it in, and we've covered up the connector, so it's all nice and clean. And yeah, the only thing I've really actually changed in the workshop is I just changed out one of the deployers at the back here to a little back tank area, so we can just drop our back tanks on here to charge whenever we've got one, and hopefully that'll be a nice thing to have. Oh, and I can't forget, we've got the old cuckoo clock in here, which I have actually hooked up to power, so every night we hear the little ding ding telling me to go to bed. It's actually annoyingly helpful because I walk out my door and I see this, 3 creepers and a skeleton. Sleeping is actually beneficial to me. At some point I actually think I'm going to be building walls around this place just specifically to stop the zombie problem because yeah, it's real bad. And no, I'm still not downloading free cam because somebody told me to do it and now I don't want to, so spectator mode, here we go. But yes, you can see all the way around, I have actually finished the build, and wait a minute. Oh, okay. He's just stuck in there. All right, you can stay. So with all this done, it's about time we set our sights on fixing our storage issue, which I've kind of prepared some stuff for and also completely gutted the starter house ready for it. And yeah, just kind of to recap on what I wanted to do here, we've got these sophisticated storage chests, which can be made into double size, so they're already huge. But then we can put stack upgrades in these, which allow us to fill up loads and loads of items per slot, which will help get a bunch of items out of these vaults and hopefully not overwhelm our storage system too much. And then for the super bulk items like the dirt and the stones and stuff, we've got these barrels, which we can put stack upgrades in as well, and these can hold an absurd amount of items. So yeah, the plan is, I think this kind of area here will be reserved for the bulk barrels and stuff. Probably something a little bit like this. I want to keep this window open because previously we had them covered and I kind of want to be able to look out my windows, you know, that's the whole purpose of them. And then of course we'll just kind of have to go around probably under the edge of the build with this inventory trim and just make sure everything is hooked up and can actually connect to the storage system itself. And you know, this stuff is relatively inexpensive, just being chests and planks and sticks, so yeah, it's not awful. Although I would be lying if I said I was 100% certain in how this inventory trim works, so just to be sure, what have we got here? We'll put these barrels in here, and if we just search for them in this, do they actually show up? Yes, they do, and that's taking those out of there. Good. So the range is fine and it's all hooked up. And yeah, once again, when we actually put an item in here, obviously if we take all of them out, it's going to free up that slot, which means that random items can get in there. So what we need to make sure we do is in the settings here, we'll set the memory. So that even when all the items are gone, it will keep the slot for dirt and only allow that in there. And I've just got to do that probably another 40 times and work out what I actually want in these barrels, so that's going to be fun. Actually, you know what? Just because I think we can probably squeeze in a couple more barrels over here. I think the more of these we have, the better. And then yeah, these iron chests, I'm just going to fill up this kind of side space with them like this. Nothing too exciting. There's not going to be a whole lot of design going on in this place, but I'll try and make something that looks okay. There's only so much you can do when it comes to a chest spam, so we'll do what we can. And before I go on an adventure of just endlessly filling barrels and moving items around and generally losing my mind, I just want to check out the recipe for these stack upgrades. They are a little expensive. Okay, a lot of wood, a lot of iron. I'm going to need a lot of those, because we ideally want to upgrade these barrels to iron tier so we can have at least 2 or 3 upgrades. And then we'll probably want 2 upgrades in all of these, so I'm probably going to need like 2 stacks of these at least. That's a lot of iron. I am going to really hope that the iron farm down here has been doing its job, because my god, I need it. How much do you have in you? Please, have a lot of iron. 855. Uh-oh, that might not be enough. Wait, didn't I? Yes, I already brought a load of iron in. I've got like 4 stacks of blocks here. It should be okay then. Although maybe not, because we need the upgrades too. So we need 16, 32, 56 item stack upgrades. Wait, no, 56 of these ones, yeah. So that's 56 of those, which can go onto these. But then each of these is gonna need 2 stack upgrades. Oh no. Which is gonna be like a stack and 48 of them minus 6, which is that. I mean, we got plenty of logs to do these, so that's fine. Yeah, so all in all, we can only get a stack of these tier 2 upgrades, which I really thought I would have enough iron for this, but that's fine. I mean, it's just a little bit of AFKing, so it's not the end of the world, but if anything, I would rather get these barrels upgraded more than anything else. So we'll do these first and then come back to everything else when we need to. Because if we now put this in here, that stores 65k or 16k. These, you know what, actually, I think I'd be okay with just 1 upgrade in these for now. I don't actually have more than my limit here, so we'll take a couple of these back. Yeah, we'll use those ones we brought back on these chests here, I think. And actually, you know what? If I can scrape like 6 more of these, I I think I should be able to give them all one upgrade, which would be great if I can. I'm like 10 iron short. That's really frustrating. Wait, no, I just can't do math. That's actually perfect. I've got one left over. Okay, we've got one upgrade and everything. I wasn't expecting to be able to do that. So yes, now begins the arduous task of moving all of this junk into the barrels, setting the memory settings, and kind of working out where I want everything to go, really. So, yeah, I'm just going to be clicking for, like, the next 7,000 years. Oh boy, I'm super excited about this. And as much as I complained, it actually wasn't that bad. It was just a lot of clicking and moving items over. So over on this side, we've got all of our rocks and earthy stuff. This side is like mostly nether bits and a couple of random stuff. I need to find something to fill these slots with, but I think I'm probably going to put like endstone and whatnot in these. We've got like a valuables bit, and then this is just like a junk and mob drops that I have collected quite a bit of, so this one, they can change, it's fine, but I just wanted to fill out the slots for now. And while I was doing this, I had a realization, which was kind of funny. I was complaining about not having enough iron, but completely forgetting that I literally just brought up 850 raw iron. Oh, hello, Cookie Clock. Completely forgot that I brought all that iron up from the mine, didn't process any of it, and I also had 2 full stacks of 512 crushed iron already in this box. So yeah, iron's fine. And you know what? Washing all of this will be a good test as to whether my system actually works, because in theory, when I throw all of these iron nuggets into the storage system, even from here or from there, they should go into the drawer. Although I am actually just going to throw a gold upgrade in there, and because I may fill that. There's a lot of iron nuggets about to come through. I think that's done. Yep, we'll just... Yep, that's a lot of iron nuggets. Crisp 15,000. Wait, that actually means I didn't need this upgrade. And they've not gone into the barrel. Good, so my system doesn't work. Where have they gotten to then? They're not in any of these empty ones. Are they in the vaults again? Have they gone into here? Yes, they have. Ugh, that sucks. Alright, so, well, if I craft all this iron up anyway, and I dump it in here, will that go into the vaults, or will that go into here? No, it won't go into there. Is that even hooked up? No, because I can't see my copper. That would do it, wouldn't it? It's all connected with trim. Have I got my... Yeah, my slime balls are here. So... something about this corner specifically, it just isn't connecting. It is all connected with trim though. Maybe it's worth, instead of taking the trim all the way around the edge like this, we dig a little bit further down and we'll run a line straight down the middle to the connector, because it may be a distance issue. But my cable is there. You know what, it's fine, we'll just go next to it. So if we then run this into here, does my copper then appear on this? No, it doesn't. Then maybe it's worth us putting this in the center of the room. Yeah, because now it shows up. Okay, so it is a distance issue. And okay, yeah, this works. It's a little jank. We got the thing in the middle. If I want to move it later, I can, but all of these are hooked up. The chests are hooked up. We've got access to the vaults and everything, so it's fine, I guess. I need to work out this priority system, really, because, yeah, maybe this system is not perfect, but if there is an item stack already in here, it usually works. So if I put like 1 in there, then put them in, yeah, they go there. Okay, so we just need to be a little bit careful about completely draining items, but that is fine. I can live with that. Which means if we now try and put our iron in, it should not go to there because I didn't leave 1 in the stack because I'm an idiot. All right, okay, take 2. Iron in, and it's now in the barrel. Okay, good. Whew, this system is a little janky. It does not work the way I thought it did, but it is good enough, and it is a significant upgrade on what we had before, because if we right click this thing here, yeah, we've got like 2,000 slots free to put items in, so we are more than fine for a good while. But before we can get into any train related stuff, I need to actually do a little bit of progression stuff. So of course, as everybody knows, in order to do train stuff in Create, we need dirty sheets, which is powdered obsidian and lava, which isn't too bad, except I have like basically no obsidian obsidian, so I kind of want to set up just like the worst, most crude obsidian farm that the world has ever seen. And the entire idea here revolves around, if my idea works, in that if we build up a little tube of trapdoors like this, and we put one there like so. If I put a lava bucket in a deployer, one, if I crank this, will it place it in there? Yes. Good, because then we can take that bucket out and reuse it for other stuff, so that's fine. But will it turn to obsidian if we now waterlog this? Yes, it will. And then if we set a smart observer with a obsidian filter, connect that up to one of these with a clutch on it, and then if we just invert the signal like so, that should mean that whenever that's turned on, it's gonna get power. And then we can also just hook this up to here like so. A lava spout with a inwards filter there for lava bucket, and then an extraction on here for empty buckets. And then we just take a mechanical arm from there to there, plonk it there, and that should be a closed little system once we hook up some power and some lava. And then with that there, we're going to power up. Once I throw a bucket in here, bam. I don't know what just happened there, but kind of looks like it's working. Just added a hopper underneath to see if this is working, and yes, it definitely is. So this is flipping, it's breaking the obsidian here. A new lava's getting placed, immediately turned into obsidian, and it's starting the whole process again. So that's pretty cool. I don't want to leave this running for too long though, so maybe we'll just add an auto switch to this. They're not called stockpile switches anymore, skis, they're called threshold switches. Let's set this to like 5%. Anyway, with our obsidian situation mostly sorted, we can get started making the sturdy sheets. So we just need to crush up some obsidian to get the obsidian powder, and I actually forgot that you get obsidian back from this. And I made this whole farm thinking I was going to need loads of it, but no, you need like the stack and you get loads. Anyway, this is also why I added the lava pumps and the water pumps into my workshop here, because they're now, bam, sturdy sheets in process. We're not going to have to faff around creating another one of these homunculi, but no, right here in the workshop, sorted. And we can just drop these in the presses and pick them out when they're done. And bam, we've got sturdy sheets all ready and sorted. Now brass, on the other hand, for the brass casing, oh, you better believe we don't have any of that. Oh, you know what, actually, the zinc supplies are not looking diabolically bad, so we can afford a little bit of brass, why not? And I realise now that I never put any blaze burners in this thing, so whoops. And with a brass casing side quest complete, we have plenty of train casings. I'm gonna see if I can remember how to make all of the things for this. So I know the train stations themselves, yeah, they take a compass. You make the trains themselves just with the casing, and then the controls are a precision mechanism, a lever, and a casing, I believe. And I don't have any precision mechanisms. Back to the workshop we go. At least this time I actually have this set up, and it's not going to be quite as painful to make them, because, you know, I'm not doing it by hand, although this is weirdly mesmerizing. Ooh. Anywho, I'm pretty sure that's the recipe. Yes, it is. Oh wow, I actually got quite a lot of these. Well, I always need them, so good. And then of course, last of all, now we've got all of this, we just need some tracks. And I think I'm going to go with the spruce ones here. And that's exactly why I built this contraption here, because this one we can just tear the parts off and replace them. So bam. Now this is a rail maker. And then just like that, we are making some protracts. Excellent. I'm going to pinch a little bit of those for later on. And with everything we need to do trains now at our disposal, it's probably about time that we make the train station itself. And I'm thinking it's kind of going to go in this area. I'm going to have to move one of these wood farms. I think I'm going to remove the birch from here and then move the oak to there instead, because I don't use the birch very often and we've got a massive stockpile of it now, like 10,000 logs, so that'll last a really long time, and I'm probably more likely to use oak than birch, so yeah. Swap those two around, get rid of this plot here. And I would be lying if I said I hadn't already done a little bit of planning in a test world. Not a huge amount, you can see by this. The house that I started designing, it's a cube. I didn't get very far, but it was more just a test of kind of where I wanted the platform to be, which was, yeah, be about in this area, with the railway here, and then I think it's going to go off to the north that way, because I want to expand upwards probably to this area with the dark forest, because that'll be nice and flat for further projects, which I may or may not have mentioned, I don't know, but I think the next big project I want to work on in the world is like getting an industrial farm area set up. So building a giga power plant and a bunch of really, really obnoxiously over the top farms for certain things. Sounds fun. But obviously I don't want to do that at my base because I would like my game to run at more than 5 frames per second. So yeah, train time. And on top of that, we get to have fun with train logistics and item delivery and stuff. You know, that thing we were doing in the last world before it exploded. Anyway, like I said, I need to get this farm moved out of the way, get it moved to here, and get building, I think, because there's a lot to do. It ain't much right now, but I think we're going to be able to turn this into something that looks pretty good. So I've started to kind of lay out the train station here. We've got our platform on the left, and the track here is going to have a display board behind it. This will have all the train information and stuff displayed on there. And then I kind of started to lay this out as if it was going to be a house and a ticket office. So like we've got the main room here, that this is going to be the ticket office, and then the behind areas, so this room here, and the upstairs is going to be kind of where the station master would live. The station master being me. This is going to be my house, because I keep just like randomly throwing beds down everywhere, and yeah, the storage room is kind of full, so I don't really have a place to like put beds or just stuff and collectibles and whatnot, so I think the house will be a really good place for that. But as you can see, the interior is looking pretty diabolical right now. Haven't even put in a floor. Walls made of just plain terracotta, which I don't really even like the layout of that much, so we are going to call in some hired help for this. And with the last time we had somebody in our world to help us build something, I'm going to try not to do the worst acting in the world.
How did I get there? What?
Why do I have to
Oh, hey. All right, Taskmaster Skeege, it's in it.
And this is the part of the video where I have a bit of an admission to make. In short, I screwed up this recording big time. For whatever reason, my goopy goblin brain forgot to do an audio check before jumping in to record, and the entire 2 hours of footage of building Sniff and I didn't record any Discord audio, so you're getting the voiceover version instead.
While the original plan was to work on the interior of the build, after looking at some inspiration for older train stations, we quickly realized that most of the current build was going to need renovating. So we got to work tearing off the old roof and interior walls to give a blank slate to work from. There were 2 main changes we wanted to make. The first being an extension on the front that would later become a clock tower and centerpiece for the building. This added a nice focal point and made the structure overall a lot more dynamic. Second, we raised the walls to make the interior a bit more spacious.
And now, with the groundwork laid, we got to work on adding some more details to the build, using sandstone as a border between the floors and terracotta to add some shape to the build and smooth out some of the harsh edges, before adding in a few small windows on the front. Then we made use of some large boiler pieces combined with pipes and lights and girders to create an industrial-like feature on the clock tower, as well as extending it even further upwards so we could add the clock faces themselves. This was done by using a clockwork bearing, as well as a couple of really sneaky building tricks using some copycat layers and the forbidden technology of the 6-way gearbox.
By the time the clock tower was finished, the roof was also approaching completion, with its sandstone trim and deep slate block palette. The final touch was to add a skylight in the roof using different colors of glass to create an almost shine effect. And last, I wanted to surprise Skeege with a flag, so I tried my best to make a gear design to solidify its place in a town full of machines and create mod contraptions. After adding a couple last-minute adjustments and some more windows to the roof gables, the build was complete. Thank you so much, Skeej, for inviting me to your world, and I hope I can come back again so that we can actually record audio correctly.
Oh, okay. It's taken me about 2 weeks to get back in front of the microphone after that incident. I done goofed real bad. But even though my disastrous audio problems aside, I still think this build turned out so well. It looks so good. A massive thank you to Sniff for coming onto the world and hanging out with me and stuff, and also going out of their way to record those voice lines for me, because I done goofed, yeah. So big thank you to Sniff. Everyone say thank you in the comments. But initially the plan was gonna be to kind of help with the interior and stuff, and then in the end we ended up kind of tearing the whole thing down and rebuilding this masterpiece. So the interior is looking pretty sparse, and I have absolutely no idea what to do with it, so that's going to be the only thing I've kind of decided is the upstairs here is going to become kind of like my bedroom slash trophy room, so things like the armor trims I want to collect, maybe mob heads, a couple of things, and again, maybe you guys can give me some ideas of stuff I can collect in here as like stuff and things. In fact, I know one thing that has got to be moved in there immediately, actually. The first legendary chicken sandwich. That's going in the trophy. And of course, it's going to go front and center. Pride and joy. You know, most valuable thing we own right there. But I'm going to be honest, I was really banking on the building of this to be a sizable portion of this video. And now, I got a lot of time to fill out, and I was not prepared for that. So I need to kind of just run around and remind myself what I was doing here and figure out what I actually want to do next. We do have a railway to build to an industrial district, but my brain does not want to do that right now. We could definitely use an overhaul of this area. Maybe some exterior walls going around the place would be good. Or we could make our lives easier with the train stuff by fully automating the sturdy sheet. Because that terrible obsidian farm I made earlier is gone, and these are my last 16, so I do kind of want an infinite supply of these, because you do get through them eventually. And in this pack, they do have a couple of uses, and they are pretty nice things to have on hand, so yeah, we'll automate these quickly. And I guess why not make use of the train station here? We haven't really got anything going on underneath this, and I do have this little cubby hole as like a perfect space for a basement. So yeah, we'll dig down underneath this, make up like a bit of a basement, and go from there. And you know, it ain't much, but this'll do. So I think the plan for this is we're going to pull over some of the lava from our main steam engine, and then we'll do some like stockpile stuff. So when there's an excess of lava, it will get sent to sturdy sheets. If we start using too much of it, it'll stop making these, which I think will be pretty good. So obviously we'll want a tank in here for storage. We'll also then want to spout the liquid out into a bucket, which then goes into a deployer, which is then mined by a drill when it turns to obsidian. We're then also gonna need some crushing wheels to turn that into powdered obsidian, and then we need lava again to spout on top of that to turn it into the sturdy sheets. Of course, I have no idea how I'm gonna lay this out just yet, so I think I'm gonna do the easy part first, and I'm going to dig my way through and bring some lava over to this area. After locating the source of the lava underneath here, I believe this pipe is the in pipe. This is what pulls all of the stuff out of the cauldrons into the tank. This one goes to the blaze burners, so we don't want to touch that one. This is the one that goes to the inside, right? So we can pull from this pipe. And I just want to do a little bit of science here, and yes, that already answers my question. So we've got a pump above here pushing down into this pipe, but if we have another pump that is not powered, then we can shut off the flow of lava. That's really good to know. So with some pretty simple redstone, we can just link this to this, and then when we hook this up, that should start pulling lava towards it. No? Why not? Because it's got nowhere to go. Okay, fair enough. So then realistically, all we should need to do is put a redstone link on this, and then one on here, and then I feel like we need to invert this. Unless actually, no, we invert this so that, I can't remember how these work. And I think with just a redstone link and we set this to inverse mode, we should be able to tell it when it reaches a certain threshold that it's going to turn on the link and therefore stop the power. So if I just replace this with a tank, that should start taking liquid out of here, right? Maybe a bigger tank required for this to work? Ah, okay, there we go. Good. So yeah, that does what I want it to. So in here, I'll just come down and set this to say, oh, I don't know, like 50%. So as soon as that tank is 50% empty, it's going to stop sending lava over here. And it feels wrong to waste lava like this, but oh well, it's fine. But yeah, now we've got all this worked out, I'm actually going to tear this off because I don't want to power these pumps with the power source that's powering the engine. I want to power it with the engine itself. I have no idea if that made sense, but it's what we're going with. Which actually turns out is going to be easier than I anticipated. I believe these 3 chain drives are the main power grid. Because if I just break through this, yeah, those shafts connect to this, which is the main grid. Good, okay. That does make this a little bit cramped, but it's workable. And with a little bit of cabling that I absolutely categorically refuse to never show you all, it's done. We have lava coming in, we have power brought over, and we are good to go. So as we said before, we're going to have a spout which is going to fill up lava buckets into a deployer here, which we can just do a brass funnel that's filtered, and then the empty buckets will come out this side, which we can then have a mechanical arm maybe tucked in here to just swap them around. Although I have just had a thought that maybe we could make use of some item drains and a vault like this, so we have an input output there and we just roll the item around. I suppose that does mean the deployer needs to come forwards a block actually, because we'd need two drains for the output. And yeah, I think something like this, and I quickly realized now that that was a foolish idea, so I have in fact gone back to the Mr. Mechanical Arm, because, you know, it's way more reliable and this is way more compact. And if we just do something like this and make a little tube of glass, when we waterlog this top bit, every time a piece of lava, is placed in here, it should instantly turn to obsidian. And then to extract it, we just put a normal vanilla hopper, because I found these are a little bit more reliable than chutes or anything like that. And then of course we're going to need a mechanical drill connected to a smart observer, so this just only runs as soon as it needs to. And then of course we just need a mechanical drill in the back there, which is going to break said obsidian as soon as it forms. So hopefully now we put that in. I need to power that. Good. That would help. Yeah, instantly turns to that, and it gets the next one ready. And because this slab is here, it can't place the next one, which is good. So with that done, we then just pull a belt out of this with some crushing wheels on, and then just whack a funnel on this. And the reason I've left space here is because we need to cycle some of the obsidian back around. And it looks like we should be able to sneak this belt right the way around here, actually, and fit that in there. Uh-oh. How did I not die? That was very close. And then we just need a way of separating the items out into the different areas, which I think should be a simple enough matter of 2 funnels. 3, we need an input. And then I guess we'll just use a vault for it, and we'll put that here. We'll have an input into that, outputs on either side. This one will be powdered, this one normal obsidian, and then if we just grab an item drain, that can just roll over to the side there. Good. And that way it's just going to keep recycling the obsidian until there's none left. And then the last process is actually relatively simple, because we just now need to make the sturdy sheets, which is spouting them with lava and then squashing them with a press or 2. And with the lava hooked up there, that is sturdy sheets fully automated. Love that. And then all we need to do really is hook this up to some storage, which I think I may put... why not? We'll just chuck it here. And I guess all we need going into that is then just a funnel, and they can start filling up there. And, you know, this certainly is not the cleanest factory I've ever built, but it'll get the job done, and it really is just stuff down in a corner, so I'm just gonna pretend it doesn't exist, basically. However, I think I've stalled long enough. It's about time that I actually get to work on this railway, even though I really don't want to. So, first of all, we gotta build ourselves a train, which I think I'm gonna go try and steal a schematic from the old version of Project Create, the trains that I built for the item delivery of like all the ore stones. I really like those little trains I did. So I'm gonna go see if I can find some screenshots and or some schematics of them, and yoink those designs. And you know, while the save file may have been corrupted, the schematics sure weren't. I found them. Check out these little guys. Oh, they're adorable. And it looks like, because I've got all the same mods, most of it's from Steam and Rails and stuff, so I don't think I should have any issues actually building these. So if we just get this little guy positioned on the track here, I just need to grab my schematic cannon. Is that in here? Yes, it is. And then we can go ahead and grab ourselves a material list, which I see a wild amount of comments, by the way, of people wondering how I get the ingredients list on the clipboard. And this is how. You literally just put it in a schematic cannon with a schematic in, and bam, does it all for you. And it took a little bit to get it all together, but thankfully I had most of it already. So we should now be able to throw that in, do one last check, super glue, and then it should be good to build. Although that is weird, it's not placed some of the blocks inside the panels there. That's weird. I've not seen it do that before. And then lastly, if we take our train station there and create new train, yep, that connects, and then assemble. Nice, we got ourselves a little train. Okay, so now it should be working. Yes, nothing being left behind. We have a nice little train. Although, actually, one last little adjustment I'm going to make is I'm going to replace the blaze burner here with a seat so I can manually drive this. And I have no wool, so that will have to wait till later, I suppose. But for now, I've got a whole lot of train track to place. And I think the route will probably go like a nice big arc through this bit of terrain, kind of following the land instead of being one straight bridge. So we'll have it come maybe around the outside of this biome, around here, across this bit of river. There's a mountain here, so maybe we'll dig a tunnel that curves around and then comes out into this dark forest biome, which obviously we'll then need to deforest, but that should be a nice big flat area for us to work on. And then maybe in future, you know, around this area, we can do some kind of junction, have it come off this way, and then up over the ocean into this plains biome for something else in the future. I think as I'm building this, I'll probably build the intersection here as well, but not really take it any further than the scary skeleton tower that I still haven't really explored. So I think it's probably about time we get the horrifying thing that is Skeege Cam in and get building. Wait, I've just realised my schematic cannon has erased half my train station. What a bastard. Oh, holy moly, that was many tracks and blocks placed. But I think we are actually getting pretty close to done. I mean, we're not, like, decoration-wise, we're nowhere near, but actual track-wise, I think this thing is looking pretty good. So we're literally just going to hop in here, we're going to take a ride. So all of this is paved, it's got gravel, dirty gravel and coarse dirt along the edges. I just want to go around and rough up the edges and stuff, just to make it less flat. But now the track comes all the way up here. We have a selection of bridges over the non-flat bits. We don't talk about this bridge. And this is the area which I haven't really worked on, I'm not going to lie. I don't really know what to do with it. There will be another bridge there. I'm scared of it, so I'm not touching it. Another bridge here. I'm going to get rid of this lava pool here. Maybe expand out like the pools of water and have a river flowing down to the ocean or the river there. Which I think will look really good. And then as we come around here, need to also construct another bridge here. But then we finally end up at the tunnel, which is all dug out. So yeah, we are really making some good progress on this railway, I think. We've done quite a lot of work on it already, but there's definitely a good ways to go. One of the things I have been working on, which admittedly there was a stream that I did before this video went out where you would have seen this, but I want to add a bunch of like custom trees and boulders and just little points of interest as we're riding along the railway to make it a little more visually interesting. So like this kind of area here is one that I've already worked on, and you can see we have like some custom trees floating around. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there, a couple of boulders in the ground and everything. And it really just brings the railway to life, you know, it just the small details really help it all come together. And of course, the last and most important thing is our train car. It does not have a name, and I would like some help naming it, so feel free to drop some name ideas in the comments for this guy. There will be more passenger cars and stuff added, so, you know, go wild. I'll pick one of them, probably. I don't know. Maybe. Unless they suck. I started off that recording so strongly and then it all went downhill. Standard Skeege video, to be fair. And when I say a massive gold farm, I mean the kind that's gonna make my game run at 4 frames per second. These industrial farms I want to build, I ain't messing around with them. They're gonna be big. The ideal setup is that we turn it on, I need to run it for an hour, and then I never need to run it again. Pointless really, but it'd be funny, wouldn't it? In all seriousness though, we do actually have quite a bit of work before I can get started on the farms, so the railway is mostly complete. I have been chipping away at this off camera between episodes, but the actual industrial area, the thing that's gonna be going like right here, yeah, there's a bit of a forest in the way. And it's not exactly a small forest we need to get rid of, full of mushrooms, tall trees, and God knows what else, so we're gonna have to find a way of doing this quickly, otherwise I'm gonna be here for about another 3 weeks. This seems like a bad idea, but I don't know how I'm not dying. Oh, and it's also full of mobs, that makes this even better. And after re-recording this segment of the video and regenerating these chunks because I tried to use a flint and steel to get rid of this, I feel very good about this. This was some good catharsis, actually. I feel like I needed this. Every now and then, sometimes, you just gotta burn down a forest, you know? It just feels good. All jokes aside, I can't help but feel like I've made a horrible mistake. There's gonna be so many floating logs to get rid of. And I also low-key forgot that the mushrooms wouldn't burn, so yeah, we gotta clear these out too. But, you know, I'm always down to get some shrooms, so I won't say no to that. Although maybe I should go put Soak Touch on my axe, actually, because these mushroom blocks are pretty useful for building, especially the brown ones. Yeah, I might go do that, actually. I very quickly realized the cleanup needed after burning all of this down to get rid of it actually would just take the same amount of time as cutting it down manually. So I'm thinking I can't place rails on leaves. That's a really good start. I'm thinking minecart with many saw. Something like this should work. A couple of storage chests just thrown on so we don't have to run around and pick up the items. Bit of the old super glue. Turn that into a contraption, which we can then pick up, of course. Realize I'm an idiot and I didn't use a furnace minecart, so yep, whoops. And now hopefully all I should need to do is just run down and place a bunch of track down as I'm going. And then hopefully all I should need to do is set this off and it should start clearing out the forest as it goes. Yeah, nice. Ooh. And I guess the really good thing about this is the create saw is actually going to deal with most of the mushroom blocks as well. Anything that's left over, I guess I'm just going to have to come through and clean up, but that's significantly less work than doing it manually. And you know, I never really see people actually doing like minecart contraptions for felling forests like this, and this is so good. Why don't people do this? This is amazing. And thanks to the grappling whisk, getting up onto these bits of mushroom to clear them out is super simple. This is taking me maybe 10 minutes and I've cleared out this massive chunk of forest. So I've just got to do this maybe 3-4 more times and we'll have enough space for what we want to do today. I don't particularly have any desire to cut down this entire forest right now, but if we can do enough for what I want to do, then yeah, that sounds good to me. And you know what, between the cart contraption, the grappling whisk, and the building ones, this was actually relatively short work to prep this area. I ended up doing a lot of the cleanup over on a stream on my Twitch, which you should definitely go follow, by the way. And we got to thinking about how we were going to lay out the power station that this area is going to need, and came up with something that's going to be probably just a little bit over the top. We're talking 2.5 million stress units in this tiny area. It's kind of insane. And before we get on with it, I need to take you on a journey, a thought journey, as there was many things that led to this exact moment. It started off with me kind of planning out this steam engine area, and I was umming and ahhing about whether or not I wanted to superheat the blaze burners. More so the process behind it of creating biofuel. And this isn't too hard to make, but it superheats for a super long time. And I was umming and ahhing about it because we'd need to be making 72 buckets every 20 minutes of the biofuel to power all of this, which, yeah, that is not gonna happen. That is a ridiculously big farm. And honestly, the frame rate impact, which I was most concerned about, would be significantly less if I just built an infinite lava source and did more just regular steam engines. And that's when chat had an idea. They reminded me that lava ain't the only source you can make an infinite source from. And over in a creative test, I tested it out with some biofuel and learned that you can't make an infinite fuel source out of this, which sucks. However, there be a create config. In the fluid settings here, bottomless fluid mode allow all, which means that if we did in fact fill a hole like this with 10,000 buckets of this, we would get an infinite source. Although making 10,000 buckets of biofuel sounded like a horrible idea, which led me to my third part of the thought experiment, which was I remember seeing a while ago that you don't need to make the entire thing out of source blocks. You can just do the top layer, let it flow down, and it will still count. So for example, if I were to fill the top layer here with blocks, we do a layer of bioethanol over the top of this, biofuel even, sorry. It used to be called bioethanol, but now it's not, it's a whole thing. And this is only 625 buckets worth, which is a significantly easier number than 10,000. But when we clear that glass underneath and we let this flow all the way down to the bottom, and then when we power the hose pulley, you will see it now has a bottomless supply. Although for some reason in my test here, it's not actually spouting any liquid, which is mildly alarming, but I did have this working earlier. Point being, it works. I have tested this, I have got it working, it will work. And then back in the survival world, the supremely good news is that our hole where we want to put the biofuel is even smaller, which means I need even less buckets to do this with. And I have actually worked out the math. I should definitely have more than enough space to make this 10k worth of blocks. The hole here is 11 by 11, which is 121 blocks per layer. And we are currently at Y73, so if we dug this all the way down to bedrock, I don't know, say minus 60, that's going to be about 130 blocks of depth, which will be about 13,000 blocks, so we'll be way over the limit needed for infinite sources. So I need to dig a big hole. I need to produce 121 buckets of biofuel, which shouldn't be that difficult. And then we should be pretty good to go with this. Oh, and I totally didn't show this off, actually. This is how each module is going to work. It's got water wheels powering the pumps. The water's going to go here. I just need to lower this bit down by a block so the water actually fits in. But that's easy. Shouldn't be that much of a problem, right? So step 1 of dig a big hole involves a floor of drills as well as a rope pulley. Nice and easy. Oh no, there was a lush cave. Oh, the frame rate. Oh, everything's gone wrong and the chest is full already. It's just, oh man. Okay, well, nothing a bit of sponge can't fix anyway, so hopefully this isn't water sources all the way down, but we will find out, I suppose. And with water drained and hole dug, we just need to fill out the walls of it, which should be super easy as well. And then we just need to put in a layer of blocks below where we want the surface of the biofuel to be, like so. And that is step 1 done. Now we just need to make some biofuel, which honestly I'm not going to make a farm for. I'm just gonna work out how much of each thing I'm gonna need and just kind of make a temporary machine from there. So we're gonna need 121 buckets, 125 per, so we need 121 times 8, which is gonna be about 1,200 per thing. About 2,400 biomass, 1,000. No. Then by then should trail off into nothing, so that's fine. Okay, never mind. I did the math. We might need some farms. Nothing too crazy. Maybe just like a little wheat farm for the seeds. And then the real killer is the biomass. We need 1,936 of it. Each one takes 3 plant matter, and I think leaves is probably going to be the easiest thing to do, but 12,000 leaves is a lot of leaves. And maybe a small sugarcane farm too, because I don't want to go and manually find 968 sugarcane out in the world. That sounds like a bad time. Oh, my steam for this project is running out. Haha, steam, get it? Funny joke. But okay. What first? What's easy? Sugarcane farm. That's easy. We make a bearing, we make it spin, we put some harvesters on it. Good. But not good as in like good looking. These farms are gonna look terrible. They are the most temporary of temporary, but it will do. It is a sugarcane farm. Now, the next ingredient, cinder flour, we should... I've got most of it. I can just go mining for the rest of that. So the toughest part being the plant matter, and I've had a brainwave. And that brainwave comes in the form of the scary skeleton tower, because you see, I thought I hadn't looted this yet and it was still going to be full of spawners, but no. I've already had the spawners out of this thing, and not only have I already taken the spawners from this, I already turned them into a farm. Not a very good farm, but a farm nonetheless. I think the way this works is, yes, we turn off the lamps and that lets them spawn, and then that turns off the belts, right? That is an immediate problem in that they are getting clogged there. Should be an easy enough fix of just shortening those. And with a very minute edit to the storage situation, adding a terminal and a better waste disposal, now if we turn this on, we should be able to just stand here and AFK farm some skeletons. All of this being for the purpose of a moss farm, by the way, because a moss farm, I just need a bit of bone meal to kickstart it and then it powers itself. I don't know if I said that, but yeah, you can use moss to make biofuel. So, plus I always need bone meal, so I'm glad I actually remembered that this exists, because yeah, this is actually quite helpful. I need to remember this is down here, or just make an actual like automated farm for it. Well, look at that, bones. Nice. And with a quick schematic and a bit of bone meal on the go, the moss farm is just about ready. Although I have just seen, is that cobblestone? Oh, that's not good, is it? Now, my best guess is gonna be pistons are pushing too quickly after after the power goes through. Whatever I did has just broken the farm significantly. Uh-oh. Now, it is worth mentioning, this is not my design, so all fatal flaws and errors about the farm are not my fault, and Skijink are not responsible for the destruction of property. Wait a minute, I've just had the greatest idea. Oh my god, I'm so smart. So what I'm thinking, we put some smart observers with detectors for cobblestone on the end, and then we just hook these up on some redstone power with this one, the clutch, and then whenever a cobblestone reaches the end, it's just going to get broken, and then it's not my problem anymore. Okay, it is set up. Let's try it out. Okay, we turn it on. Bam, that breaks. Will this now keep pushing? Do it be working? Oh, I'm really stupid. I've inversed it. It's stopping drilling when the cobblestone arrives. Okay, well, it's a really terrible solution to the problem that I've created, but I've just added in some drills and some observers so that when there inevitably is cobblestone coming through the farm, it just goes to the end and gets broken. So, business as usual. I'll just let this thing run and do its thing. We're up to about 1200 moss blocks, so I think I've just got to leave this running maybe for like another hour or two, and it should be most of the way there. I mean, this has only been on for like 10 minutes and it's made 1,000, so I think we're on the right track. And probably by the time that's done, the sugarcane will be done as well, because this has already made 2 stacks, so it's going pretty well all in all. And now the last thing on our list is going to be the seeds for the seed oil, and I just kind of want to test something, so I have a stack of bone meal, a single wheat seed, and if I just sit here and that's a left click. If I sit here and turn on right click macro, how many seeds do I get per stack of bone meal? 38. That's pretty good number actually. And as you saw, I've already got like 700 odd seeds in my terminal here. I only really need like another, I don't know, 500, so I might just go back to the skeleton farm and grind out a stack of bone meal or 2. And with the stuff I already have in my inventory, I may honestly just go grab a ton of bone meal and spam grow this for the rest of the seeds. I don't see the point in setting up a whole ass farm when I can just do it in like a few minutes. So back to slapping some skeletons I go. Okay, so all of the components are finally in place for this. The sugarcane is growing, the moss is farming, I have plenty of cinder flour and seeds, so I think it's about time we start putting together the production line for the biofuel. So obviously we're going to want to throw this stuff into a fluid tank, and I think that there should be enough space for everything we need. We're going to need a mechanical mixer to make the biofuel, and apparently sugar can be milled or crushed to get double the amount plus a bonus output, so we're going to have one of those going into here as well. So we'll route the sugarcane into this, and we'll just use some item drains to throw it in, and then we'll do the same on this side where we can just put a barrel maybe for the cinder flour, and then we just need another basin, and we'll just throw some pumps on, and then lastly another storage thing here for the seeds, and then we just got to put a press on this to make the seed oil. Okay, and then with a very quick and dirty machine, I believe this is everything good to go. We're smashing down the seeds into oil, mixing that with moss to make biofuel, and then we're just waiting on the sugar for this, which we can throw in over here. So then with just a funnel here, that gets the sugar in, and we are making biofuel. Oh yeah. And that is 1 bucket of 121 down. So I think I honestly just need to AFK this for a while. I've stocked up the blaze burner with like a stack of coal here, so this should last a good amount of time, but yeah, I'm going to need to keep an eye on it. Well, this took far too long, but it is finally done. The last step here is we just need to put our pumps in here, and hopefully these should become infinite sources, and I'm going to really hope this works, because I do not have enough biofuel to redo this. Uh-oh. That's... oh, ooh, config change. Allow all. Yes, please. And now it should... no, stop taking my buckets. Okay. Back to the farm I go. It works! I actually made a backup this time, but I don't need it, because this one's working. Okay. Bottomless supply. It's not eating any more bioethanol. And man, that is a good noise hearing all those fire up. Holy moly, I have never made a level 18 steam engine before, and never mind 8 of them. Holy god, the power out of this is going to be insane. Okay, well, I know theoretically what the number is going to be for the total stress units, but I've got to put all these into one network and just see the number in game. I have to do it. It's just how it's got to be. And here comes the moment of truth. Okay, 2.4 million. Yeah, that'll do. That will do. Oh, I couldn't even finish the sentence without cackling at this. It's so unnecessary, but it's so worth it. This is just, yeah, it's 2.4 million stress units. That's for sure. Although I tell you what, my game does not like this at all. These frame rates are they're getting spooky. I still have an entire gold farm and industrial district to build, and the steam engine alone is giving my game a bad time. Oh, this place is gonna be fun to work in. Realistically, I think what I actually do need to do is turn these on, like maybe a clutch system where I can, oh god, even my menu's lagging. Put them on a clutch system so I can actually toggle these like on or off as and when we need them, because oof, yeah, this is struggling. But then again, that's a problem for later Skeege. I just like this big number. That makes me real happy. So anyway, all of this work, all of this planning, now the gold farm can begin. And by begin, I mean I tear all of this garbage down and head back to my base and material craft for the next 6 to 8 years. Yay! Oh boy. And you know what? That was every single bit as painful as I thought it was going to be. Making toolboxes is just one of those things in the Create mod that is just utterly insufferable. With the amount of stuff you need to craft, oof. I'm probably not even halfway to the amount of stuff I'd want in these, but this is gonna have to do for now. I seriously spent like 4 hours doing this over a stream and like a couple of nights of just endless crafting. It's been a bad time. But in other preparations, I have somewhat worked out how I want this area to go. So obviously I have drawn the power from 2 of these steam engines now. We're looking at you know, still 600,000 stress units. And I've set up where I want the final vault to be for our gold farm, which is going to be about here. And despite the complete and utter proof on my channel that I have that the red sand farm is going to be the better method of getting more gold, I am going to be doing the soul sand method purely because it's less steps to get there. So obviously for red sand, it's quite a much longer process given that we have to crush twice to get sand, wash the clay, smelt it into terracotta, crush it again, and then wash it again into the gold. Whereas the soul sand method is simply crush twice, haunt, and wash into gold, which is much better given the fact that we are only going to be limited by the speed at which we can produce and crush up to the sand level. Because the washing and haunting stages of this, it doesn't really matter how much of a throughput we have, we can just keep dumping those items on the ground and just pick them up once they're processed. So in terms of raw speed, soul sand is going to be significantly better. And I also have plans for the quartz later down the line, so that will also be pretty helpful as well. So for the cobblestone generation part of this, I'm probably going to do the same that I did over at the andesite farm. So for the cobblestone generation part of this, I'm probably going to do what I did over at the andesite farm and make use of gantry carriages in order to collect the stone. That being a really simple little loop of using a content observer that is detecting stone so that when the stone forms, it moves forward, breaks it, and then moves back on a gear shift. So for each module of the farm, I'm thinking we're going to have rows of 16 of the cobblestone generators, and then we're going to flip this on the other side and then potentially have 2 more above. So we will have 64 cobblestone generating every single time it forms. And because this is going to be a contraption when it breaks the cobblestone, we don't need to run a belt or anything underneath it. All I need to do is maybe just chuck a barrel at this end, and then if we grab a funnel, we just stick that there, and then that can extract the items for us, all in one go. Each layer of the farm is probably going to end up looking something like this, so we'll waterlog these slabs so the water can flow either side, and then fill in these channels along the top with the lava. And then the second row will probably be stacked, probably about this height, so we've got room for a ceiling underneath, and that way that'll just prevent any water spillage or anything from coming down below. And then when it's all hooked up here, it does look pretty impressive. I love the way this thing looks. But you know what was better than this? 2 of this. Oh yeah. When I said I want this farm to be game-breakingly, game-cripplingly bad, I meant it. I want this thing to run for about 10 minutes and then make more gold than I'm ever going to need. Though the question stands, is it excessive to do any more than this? We're going to be making like 2 stacks of cobblestone every 5 seconds. No, I think I should stay with this. Okay, I should get this hooked up first to power, see how bad this is alone before I add any more of them. Although the question stands, how do I hook power up to this? I don't know how I'm going to deal with the gantries because they need to be going opposite ways to each other. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna stick a gearbox in them and then see if that works. In fact, I should be able to test this with a hand crank, right? Yeah, they go opposite directions. That's not good. I haven't actually made any of these, but there is brass gearboxes in Create Connected which let you do custom rotation for every single side. Maybe that's our answer. So yeah, we'll put that one up and that one down, and then we'll just see how that goes when we do this. Ah, yes, this is the answer. Excellent. You know, it's a really good job that I bulk crafted like a stack and a half of precision mechanisms, because I didn't think I was going to be making these today. For once, my foresight and planning has actually paid off. And yeah, just hooking these up over the top with a rotation speed controller, we've got all of these in place. And oh, that's a good noise. And I'm going to make this look nice in a minute, but if we just hook this up to some power, we've set this to, I'm going to put it down to 32 just for now. If I flip this, we should start seeing all of this break and then pop back. Yeah, good. Ooh, that's made cobblestone. Why is that made cobblestone? That's not right. Oh, this one's done it too. How strange. Okay, so cobblestone has been removed from the system. We'll just give that another quick try just to test. And we should see, yes, all this is working. Now, if I turn on both sides, how badly is my frame rate going to suffer? Ooh, quite poorly. Oh, we're dipping under the 60 mark. That's a bit spooky. Okay, let's turn this off for now and we'll get the rest of the processes up and running, which honestly shouldn't be too difficult. And holy moly, this is the amount of cobblestone we got for running the farm for about 20 seconds. I think we're going to be all right, you know, for gold. So the plan for the rest of it is actually going to be not too bad. We just use some vault trickery and some item rolling to take all of the items out of these. They're going to flow down and round into the big vault, and then we're going to dance the other items around this vault until they become the gold, at which point we will ship it back to that container over there. So obviously once we have the cobblestone, we need to crush it into gravel, which is going to come out of this side, come back around and go back in, and then it's going to come straight back out this side and get turned into sand. And in order to make the spread of items as even as possible, we're going to set each of these up to 32 items per wheel. And because we have a main power line just running over the top here, this is going to be super easy just to bring the power over and connect up. And after just throwing on some fans, some filters and some compactors, I think we are actually ready for a test. So what's going to happen is obviously we're going to crush into the sand. That's going to come back into here. It's then going to drop from here in front of this fan here, which is going to haunt into soul sand, which is then going to drop here to be washed. Once that is washed, the raw gold itself is going to pop out here and get compacted into raw gold, or the nuggets will come out and be compacted into the raw gold rather. The raw gold will then drop out and turn into ingots, which will then drop out of here and be compacted into blocks. There isn't really any need for me to make it this complicated. I could technically just set this to make blocks and this to smelt blocks, but I wanted it to be symmetrical, so cry about it. And I do kind of find it hilarious that our entire processing line here is about half the size as the cobblestone generator. It's just really entertaining to me, that fact. So just while I set this up, I'm going to disconnect it from the main power line because I want to hook this up to a redstone link first of all. So I'll throw that there, those there, double lever for now, make these receivers, and then we should be ready to power this up. So let's go. Oh god, immediately the frames are struggling, but I want to see if the cobblestone, oh yeah, is making its way through, which it is, and it looks like it's going to be keeping up just fine. And by the looks of it, we're only using one set of the crushing wheels here, so maybe we could get away with adding even more cobble generators to this, which would be hilarious if we could. And it appears I've made a slight mistake in my filtering because I set them both to be sand and soul sand, which means the soul sand is not getting picked up here at the end. Whoops. Okay, so with that, yes, that looks like it's now going to be working, and by the looks of it, yeah, we are producing gold nuggets, which is great. Although not really at the rate I was actually kind of hoping for. I did not turn on the cobblestone generators. That would help. I was wondering, my game was running suspiciously well, but no, there's the flame lag. So yeah, I'm just going to let this run for maybe 5-10 minutes and see what kind of rates we're looking at, because there is a very good chance that this cobblestone generator may be about to double in size. Because in my mind, technically, if we're only using 1 of 4 of our crushing wheels, then I can make 4 times the amount of cobblestone. My game may explode if I do that, but it sure would be funny. And I've just had a realization. I never sped up how quickly the cobblestone was going to be breaking. So that is going to kick things off pretty nicely if I turn that off. Oh yeah, that's significantly faster. You know what? Screw it. We've got 600,000 stress units to play with. Why not? Well, we'll just max it out. See what happens. Oh god, the frame rate. Oh, okay, cobblestone is exploding everywhere when I do that. That is 256 is too fast. That's problematic. Oh god, these barrels are full. So after working out all the little kinks and small bits that I missed while building this, I actually think it would be immensely irresponsible to add more cobblestone generators to this. I basically just did not hook up the funnels to these. These were all facing inwards for some reason, so backlog right now is pretty bad. So I'm gonna let it clear itself out first, and then hopefully when it's cleared out, we'll turn it on again and see if it keeps up or not. Okay, and I've done a bit of testing here, and I've worked out that we're getting a gold ingot about every 15 seconds, so that's 4 per minute, and about 240 ingots per hour. I forgot I was in scaffolding and have now sunk to the bottom. But in the meantime, you can check out the upgrades to the gold farm I made. I ended up removing the old cobblestone generator system, and I've replaced it now with drills and chain drives, and then using belts underneath to actually drive the cobblestone into the processing bit. And the reason I've changed it over to this is, well, because I realized the only reason to do a gantry-based farm is, well, to save stress units, and we're not exactly short on them. I mean, I've got 1 engine active right now, and yeah, it's 300,000. We've got 2.4 million stress units to play with. You know, if I got them, I'm going to use them. And on top of that, the tiny little bit of time delay between the gantry moving across was actually making the farm less efficient. I worked it out before. With the gantries, we were making about 240 gold ingots per hour. And now with the new chain drive drill direct method like this, we're getting about 360. At least that's what my math dictates, based purely off vibes of counting how long between the gold ingots and then working out how many per hour based off that. So, you know, take it with a pinch of salt, but it is significantly faster to do it this way, as we're really throwing the gold through. And, you know, my math wasn't too off. I ran this for an hour exactly, and I got 330, so ever so slightly less than I expected, but still a pretty sizable output of gold for an hour's worth of use. I mean, this is what, over 6 stacks here? So yeah, our gold problems, they have gone away. We are fine for gold. And yes, I currently have this turned off because, well, the frame rate is still unbearably bad. Yeah. And you know what? Just to help out, we're gonna turn the engines off too. They also are causing a lot of lag. Whenever I'm recording in this area, it's very unlikely the machines are actually going to be turned on because everything I'm designing here is probably going to be game-crushingly laggy, and I don't want to put y'all through that. And you know, shameless plug time, I did all this work improving all of this stuff over on my Twitch channel, which you should definitely go and follow, by the way, link in the description. But with shameless plugs aside, we have 2 jobs to do today. No, wait, we have 3. No, we have 4 jobs to do today. 1 being automate copper, 1 being automate zinc, the 3rd being automate brass, and then the 4th being maybe do some building around these things, because I do want to put some buildings around them. They are not going to stay as stone slabs around the edges for much longer. They were just kind of temporary placeholders, so yeah, we'll definitely be doing a building around the power plant here at the very least. What will we be building around it? I have no idea. I haven't got that far yet. I'm going to go and automate some ingots and hope some building inspiration hits me. Maybe while I'm at it, I'll tear down my terrible moss farm as well. I'll think about it. And you may be wondering how exactly I'm going to be automating copper and zinc, because, you know, normally that's copper's a pain in the ass with a drowned farm, and zinc is just plain up not automatable. But here in my mod pack, I have the Molten Geodes mod. This is the same mod I used in the old series. And if we just detonate a TNT on one of these, like so, we then activate the core. And then whenever we place a lava bucket next to this, it's going to turn to obsidian because I'm underwater and I'm stupid. But in theory, whenever we then place a lava bucket next to this catalyst, it will turn into the respective block. So that would have turned into Azerine if I had not been an idiot. And, you know, if you watch my previous video where I did this, it's a pretty simple process of we just make a lava farm, we keep spouting it onto the thing, we break the blocks, we get them, we crush them, we get metal. Very nice, very simple. And I actually got lucky enough that I have an Azerine vent right here, and then somewhere up this coast somewhere, there's a Vidium one as well, which will give us the copper. Which the same obviously applies to this. Detonate it with some TNT, and then when we put our lava bucket here, it will turn into this, which we can then process into the ingots. Then of course, brass itself is self-explanatory. We just mix the 2 ingots together in a basin and heat it, and bam, brass. Easy. And you won't believe it, I've just spied this in FreeCam. There is actually another Azerine vent right here, right next to the Vidium. So this one is significantly easier to work with. So that one in the ocean, it's dead to me. This is my new Azerine vent. So before I can really even get to work on setting all of this up, I need to clear out some trees and some forest, which I was really hoping to avoid. I really don't want to do any more of this. I've already spent so long clearing this forest, but needs must. I've got to do it. Although I do have my little saw contraption on the go, so hopefully this won't take too long. Realistically, all I need to do is just follow behind this thing and clear out the stumps and the leftover bits of mushroom, so shouldn't be too bad. And what was several hours of tree clearing and everything else was probably about 5 seconds for you, so glad you didn't have to go through that pain. But we have both of our molten vents ready to go. We've got the Azerine here and the Vidium just down on this ridge. So we're gonna get started on getting these machines ready, and basically all we really need to do is get the lava sorted. That's going to be the hardest part of this. The actual material processing is as simple as drill and crush and then send it to storage. That's about it. Maybe a bit of smelting action as well if I feel like it. But for the infinite lava, we have 2 options really. Either we can do the same trick we've done over there with the biofuel to make infinite sources, or we could use nether portals and trains. And we all saw how my last experience with nether portals and trains went, so I think we're going to go with the infinite source method. And realistically, we only need 1 infinite source to power both of these, so if we maybe put it in this kind of area here, we can then send the lava both ways to each of these 2 farms. So again, we're at Y73, so if we dig our hole all the way down to probably Y-60 again, like same as this one, we should get away with a relatively small footprint on the actual thing. In fact, you know what? Because I know it works, I'm just going to go with an 11 by 11 again. So just this tiny bit here, and that's how big our hole is going to be. Nice and easy. So once again, we are going to just set up a whole bunch of drills, attach them to a hose pulley, send it down, make some walls. We've seen this all before, we're just going to whiz straight through this. And in no time at all, we have our infinite lava set up. This is honestly so easy to do, knowing now that I just have to do the top layer and let it flow down. Because unlike the biofuel, lava is significantly easier to get. All I had to do was just make a ton of buckets, and I've got loads of lava built up in the tanks at the base, so yeah, that was really, really easy. So with this prepared and ready, we are probably good to start working on the contraption that is going to make the blocks for us that we then process into our metals. Oh, and also the toolboxes I made last time, I already decided that I don't like them, and everything has gone back into the system. So yeah, they didn't last long. But either way, we're going to need a set of drills pointing into these blocks. The corners don't get affected by this, just the 4 directly next to it. So then in order to actually collect the items, what I'm thinking we'll do is we'll have them run into one of these silos, and then we'll just put some normal vanilla hoppers underneath like this. And then the fluid pipes themselves will probably just have to kind of do something like this and then just hook them up around the outside maybe? I don't know, that seems really messy. I think there probably is a better way to do this. Yeah, maybe something like this will be a bit better. That'll be a lot easier to hook up with power, because I guess then we can just do a handful of chain drives along the edge like this. Yeah, this seems like a much better choice, because I guess then I can just put some casing on these shafts and it's gonna look a lot cleaner. And as per usual, I may have gotten a little bit carried away in my design of this thing, but I think we've got the entire kind of main system worked out here. So starting off at our infinite lava source, which was very easy to make with the old 1-layer trick we discovered last time, we then run this across some pipes all the way down to where the vent is. And then just with a couple of drills and gearbox shenanigans, we have a pretty nice self-closing loop. So lava gets spouted out, it gets broken, picked up in the hoppers, and goes into the storage vault just over here. And then over on the other side for the Azerine, we have the exact same platform set up and ready to go. The only thing I need to do here is just get the lava from these pumps to over there, which is going to be a 10-minute job. And while I'm doing this, it's time for the return of our favorite game show. It's the game of how many days since Skeege last recorded a clip for this video. So take your guess, is it A, B, C, or D? Well, it is in fact C, 1 entire week. I've been very busy. I have had like no time to work on this video, and I have been very sad because of it. Which is a shame, because I'm actually really enjoying this project. I really like the way this thing is turning out, and I'm glad to be able to be working on it again. Super quick, super simple, just a bunch of pipes and cogs. So now if we put that in, this should connect. What has happened here? Why no connect? Missing a shaft there. And yeah, this will come all the way through to here. And then if we unlock this guy, we should see, yep, we are now farming Azerine. Excellent. So now we have our 2 farms here. What I'm actually thinking is we process the items above them in these areas here. So what I might end up doing is if we extend the platform out another square here, then we'll send the items up with a fan into here, have them be crushed and then washed, and then we'll drop them back down to the floor here, and that's where we'll put the storage for them. So in the middle here, we've got a 5x5 hole, a pole here for the middle, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 here. 2 blocks on the outside, and then this should be enough space to fit a very small factory, and we really don't have a lot going in here, so should be okay. So with all of this laid out, we're probably going to use these copycat slabs and then the industrial iron flooring here to make the base of our factory, and then we'll probably leave a hole right here. And this is where the items are going to come up in a chute for the input. So they'll come up through here into a barrel, then out onto a mechanical belt here. And come to think of it, we're probably going to want to build some walls or exterior around this, so we'll keep that block clear. Using some vertical gearboxes, we'll be able to hook up our crushing wheels like so. And I'm actually kind of concerned about space here. It's really awkward that this comes up in the middle of the room like this. I wonder if there's potentially a way I can use the curving thing of the chutes where they do this to get the items to come up just a little bit further back. Which, yeah, that totally works. It kind of clips the pipe a little bit, but I don't hate it. I don't think that's the worst clipping I've ever seen in my life. Okay, and yeah, that does give us significantly more space to work with when it comes to the processing of these items. So once the Azerine has been crushed, it's going to come through here, and then I think we'll just drop it onto the ground, and then we'll have a fan blowing down on top of this, and then we'll just set a filter here for all of the byproducts like the gunpowder and the zinc. Because unlike the copper over there with the vidium, I do actually kind of want the byproduct of the gunpowder from the Azerine here. You know, copper over there, the byproduct is clay, which it's not really that useful, so I'm just going to smelt that straight into ingots, but the Azerine here, I want to wash it. Which actually makes me think I also am going to need a press to turn the nuggets back into ingots after they've been washed. Is it worth all of that extra processing just for the gunpowder? I mean, I'm sure there is a better create mod recipe to make this. What's the spout one? Potion of hardening. And how do we make that? It's poison or healing and spider eye. And poison comes from spider eyes itself. Okay, so that would be a spider farm, a sugar farm, and a mushroom farm, which, yeah, I think that would be fine. I guess I can just smelt this straight into the ingots here. I mean, realistically, I only ever use gunpowder at the moment to power my schematic cannon, and I don't really use that all too often, so I think we should be okay. So yeah, we'll just whack our blasting catalyst right up here, fan pointing down into it, and that's going to be our setup right there. Oh, and of course, we're just going to want to encase that bit in some trapdoors just so the items don't go flying everywhere. Nice and easy. Now, getting power up here is going to be another matter because we have this pipe that goes over this part, which actually, you know what? I see a solution already. Oh no. Anyway, what I was going to say was if we put glass on these pipes here, then we should be able to just route these around the side like this, bam bam bam, change this to a normal pipe, and then yeah, that's still going to flow down and around to the front and back pipes here. Good. A little bit strange, a little bit complicated, but it's going to get the job done at least. And it kind of makes this thing look a whole lot more industrial, which I actually do kind of like. So yeah, then we can just pull our power straight up through here, and that will be good. So now comes the fun game of how do I hook this all up in a way that doesn't look totally awful. Well, for starters, for the fan, we know we're going to put this up here like so, and is that going to push? It's going to push. Excellent. And then the crushing wheels here are actually linked to the belt, so realistically, I think this might actually be as simple as just putting those into there like that. Okay, cool. So that's actually super simple, and it doesn't look horrible. And then I guess the last thing we actually need to do here is hook up these hoppers, funneling the items into this chute here. And then with the fan pushing upward, we just need to kind of hope that this is going to keep up with the demand, and one thing can actually push enough items through it. Yep, so Azerine is now being delivered to this chest, and all we're going to do is we're going to set this to, let's say 16 items at a time, because that way it's not going to keep trying to send out singular pieces of it at a time. It'll just hold it, collect a bunch all up at once, and then let it pass through the system. Should hopefully remove a little bit of the strain off of it, and once it's cleared through this backlog, it will be working perfectly fine. And also, if I actually set the filter on my smart chute here, that would help too. And to top it all off, the problems keep on piling up. We also have zinc nuggets getting in there now, which means we need to extract those, compress them into ingots, and then pass them back into this vault. And you know what? After staring at this for a minute or two, I think I have a solution. And that solution is to get 2 extra belts on this side. We use a brass tunnel. We set the middle here to zinc, and this side to ingots. Or nuggets, rather. We have our squashing basin right here and here, and they should deposit right onto that belt in the middle. And then just with some funnels on this, like so. Now if we stick a press on these, and 2 chain drives right there to hook them up, we're going to start firing raw zinc back into this to be smelted. And you know what? Surprisingly enough, I think that has actually worked first time. It does mean I need to edit my filter here to be raw zinc instead of nuggets, but that is an easy enough fix. And I think this is now a working system. And then the very last thing we should need to do here is just hook up a little thing on the outside for us to actually extract the items from. And that is as simple as some funnels, some depots, and then a display link on these showing the amount of matching items. Very nice. So that right there is one completely done and functioning Azerine/zinc farm. Hell yeah. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. It actually looks pretty cool. What design am I going to go for on top? I don't really know right now, so I'm going to go build the other one and have a think about it while I do so. And you know what, I will probably be streaming this over on my Twitch, so if you want to catch more stuff of the in-between of these videos, then you should definitely go follow me over there. Absolutely shameless self-plug right there, but worth it. Anyway, yes, I go build now. I go make copper farm. Oh boy, I have been on a journey with this build, because not only have I duplicated the copper build over to the other side and also added some very nice little builds on top of them, I've also updated the world to create 6.0. Not by choice, but because I'm a fool. You see, my stupid ass, when I was trying to load the mod pack the other day, accidentally hit the update all button. And this was when I was also in the middle of updating my camera account. And I typically have 2 profiles for this mod pack. I have the main one, which I play on, and then I have a secondary one, which I use for the camera account. And that was incomplete at the time I hit the update all button, so I had no choice but to update everything to create 6.0. A foolish mistake. But alas, I've been meaning to do this for a very long time, so we have a couple of changes that I've made to the build. So obviously, first of all, we have the very nice new pipe textures, which admittedly, I didn't like at first, but they're growing on me. I do like this new texture, actually. And secondly, the chain conveyor. I'm really excited that we've got this, actually. It makes transporting the power over to this area so much easier. This little junction that was so awkward before now looks so much better with the chain conveyors. Oddly mesmerizing, to be fair. And in general, it's just a much better way of transporting the power around this place, and, you know, we can ride them. So that's pretty cool. But during all of this, these farms have been running, and, you know, we have just a bit of copper stored up. Only 30,000. Might not be enough, you know. And the zinc, yeah, that's also got 10,000 in it, so our metal troubles are long gone. I am free to build with copycat panels and brass for all eternity. I have so much of these ingots now. And then the other thing I also did was kind of get to work on the terrain for this area, because I did want to make kind of like an industrial hellscape, because, you know, what industrial district would be complete without a brown and dead landscape? And I really like the way this turned out. You know, we've got some packed mud and brown mushroom at the edges, mostly just dirt around the middle, and a bit of coarse dirt where the builds are placed. And then down by the water, we just have like a bit of podzol at the edge, which kind of also already came with this biome, and I really liked it, so I decided to keep it. So I think my next move here is gonna be to get the rest of the metals set up, and I've been thinking about this. Our gold farm over here is pretty good, but I kind of wanted all the metal production in one area. So I think I'm gonna take a schematic of this and literally just port it over to here, so we have all of our metals in the same place. And then probably cobble together a quick iron farm, just so we have all 4 in one place. And then we can get to work on a little storage warehouse or something for them. And you know, if I'm feeling buildy, then maybe I will actually build something around the power plant here, but what's the likelihood of that? Look, I may be good at building, but it's not a quick process, alright? You know, this looks pretty good, but it did take me about 4 hours, so, you know, F. Anyway, I have a big old square to terraform, so let's get to work on that. And after a couple of trials and tribulations, I'm pretty happy with how both of these farms actually turned out. We got the iron farm built and the gold farm moved over here, and of course built up like a little warehouse around them, and I gotta say, I really like how these came together. Ignore the fact that this roof isn't done, but overall, yeah, they look really cool. I think the combination of actually having some more brick factory buildings compared with these more like little mini ones actually really brings the area together. I really like this. Oh, and of course the expansion of the custom terrain here definitely helps the place look a bit more finished. There's definitely a long way to go, a lot of decorations to be done, but yeah, I'm really happy with this progress. So just to kind of go over how this all works, the iron farm is pretty much a direct copy of the gold farm with some uninvited guests apparently. And the only real difference is I've just changed out the washing slash haunting slash whatever fan bit at the end to be washing and then smelting for the iron, and just removed the gravel into sand loop and just added more gravel processing power. Really simple little change, didn't really require much effort at all, honestly. The gold farm has been working, but it definitely has had some issues. In the new Create update, they kind of changed how cobble generation works, where as you can see, instead of breaking the blocks and then them reforming, it now just instantly deposits the cobblestone to an inventory below. And that has come with quite an unexpected caveat that this is now producing cobblestone a tiny bit faster than it was before, which is meaning that our 4 sets of crushing wheels are no longer actually keeping up with the amount that it's making. So yeah, you can see this vault here is getting pretty full with gravel, so we definitely need to add in some extra crushing wheels just to help this thing keep up. And God knows how I'm going to fit these in, honestly. I really don't know where to put them. I think, honestly, our best bet is we're going to have to lower down this section here, have a belt go up on a diagonal, and then have a second belt coming up to over here, and then having the next lot of crushing wheels maybe just stuffed right into the roof like this. And the output shouldn't be awful. We can probably just run along a belt like we have done here, and then have it drop down on some chutes onto this belt here, and it'll germinate as normal. So to prevent myself from being launched onto the crushing wheels and dying a horrible, painful death, yeah, I should probably turn this off before I do this. Yeah, so this is definitely not the most elegant of solutions to this problem, but this should hopefully do the trick. Ignore the fact that these are horribly clipping together, but that's just, I guess, the price we gotta pay for my own terrible choices. And you know what? It ain't pretty, but hopefully now, as you can see, we are really throwing through all of this cobble and gravel, and it should keep up pretty well at this point. Now we have 2 layers worth of crushing wheels. So I'm going to let this run while we do some other stuff, and hopefully we should see an improvement and this vault shouldn't fill up with gravel. So yeah, even after a short while, actually, the backlog that was in here has cleared itself out, so we're definitely able now to process more than we're making, which is good, because that means it shouldn't ever really back up, and we can leave this thing running without fear of the vaults backing up or anything like that, other than the gold one. I mean, anyway, at that point it will just turn itself off, so should be fine. There is also apparently a bunch of random items inside this vault, so we better get those out as well. Although just for now, I am actually going to turn this thing off, because the frame rates when either of these farms are turned on is, yeah, it's pretty bad. But overall, I think we've had quite a productive day. We've got the pack update to create 6.0. We've made farms for all 4 of the metals, really. I guess technically industrial iron is a metal, but you kind of just craft that by stone cutting iron, so I don't really need to farm that one. But we got a copper farm, we got a zinc farm, we got a gold farm, and an iron farm set up today. Ugh, that's more productive than I think I've ever been. The industrial district is absolutely well underway to being a monstrous production factory. I am really excited for the next projects here, because I think next up I want to kind of get some more basic farms going, and then potentially automate a couple of components from the andesite age. So if we get ourselves a tree farm and an andesite farm over here, then we can really start to knuckle down on those components. But I think that's probably all I'm going to be doing for today, because this video has already taken me about 3 weeks to make, because I have been a busy boy. For those of you who missed my latest YouTube post, I have just started a new job, and it has taken up many of my hours. I have not had a lot of free time to work on this video. But hopefully now it's kind of all started and I'm starting to settle in a bit. I should hopefully be able to have a bit more control over my schedule and actually find some time to do this stuff, so I'm looking forward to that. But either way, thank you all very much for watching. If you have any ideas of stuff I can add to this for the biome or anything like that, then just drop it in the comments and I'll make sure to check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out. Bye.